And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
You can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
News 3 live at 11 with Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera leading the way in Las Vegas.
Hi, Mark Hale here with today's Energy Store. Look, when it comes to solar energy, you have lots of choices. That's the facts. SunPower by Today's Energy Store has the best solar panels, period. We treat every customer with the utmost respect and offer fair, honest pricing right up front. No sales gimmicks, no bait and switch, no pushy salespeople. The other guys can keep doing that. At Today's Energy Store, you get honest answers and the most efficient solar panels in the industry. Give us a call at 702-558-1500. That's 702-558-1500. Demand better solar.
What's your reason to do LASIK? No need to put it off any longer this summer. Dr. Kent Wellish at Wellish Vision Institute is here to improve your vision for a better outlook on life.
My reason? I want to wake up and see, and to stop paying for glasses and contacts. LASIK is a permanent solution for a low-maintenance lifestyle.
My reason? I want a board-certified, non-corporate chain, top doc surgeon who I can trust to perform my LASIK.
Whatever your reason, schedule your free one-on-one LASIK consultation at Wellish Vision Institute by the end of the month and receive $1,000 off LASIK. On top of that, we offer 0% financing for 2 full years. Wellish Vision Institute now has 3 convenient locations no matter where you're located. We're close. Call 702-733-2020 or visit wellishvision.com to book your free consultation. Don't wait any longer. Now is the time to get the clear vision you deserve. Certain restrictions apply. Financing with approved credit.
Are you taking Cialis or Viagra? Marley Drug has generics of both for just $12 per tablet. That's a savings of $60 per dose. Marley Drug is an independent pharmacy delivering generic Cialis and Viagra to your door for $12 per tablet. Call Marley Drug at 800-870-4787. That's 800-870-4787. Again, 800-870-4787.
The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah, what's up, Vegas? Happy Friday. Hope everybody's in a good mood. I'm in a good mood because it's Friday. Why wouldn't I be in a good mood? And you should be in a good mood because your friend Brian Shapiro back at you. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. Well, it's just Shapiro, at least as of right now. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Glad you could be with us. Oh, yeah, a lot to get to, a lot to go over. We're going to go over the testimony of right here just a little bit. The impeachment inquiry hearings continuing yesterday. It was some riveting testimony. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mr. X, he's also known as the Hollywood conservative. There's this crazy Julia Roberts story that's out there. Apparently, she could be playing Harriet Tubman. That was the idea, but yet nobody in Hollywood is lashing out about it. We'll get to him coming up at the bottom of the hour. A Trump supporter, by the way. That's why we call him Mr. X. Can't reveal his identity. You're not going to believe the things that Lindsay Graham said about Joe Biden years back. You want to talk, wow, can you believe it? Lindsey Graham flip-flopping? No. He seems like such a genuine person to me. Shepard Smith, kind of speaking for the first time publicly since being, or I should say since resigning from Fox News. We're also going to replay an interview we did yesterday with Anthony Scaramucci because the Mooch came on our show yesterday along with Mike Lavinati, and we asked him a little bit about Donald Trump on a Saturday afternoon, all of a sudden going to Walter Reed Medical Facility. Well, the Mooch had some interesting theories into what's going on with Donald Trump, and I'll tell you, it makes a lot of sense. He thinks that Donald Trump had a stroke. So we'll get to that coming up in a little bit. Oh, look who decided to join us today. It is JD Sharp. JD, how's it going? Yeah, your mic's on. Go ahead. You can speak. Why don't you want to talk? My co-host is in studio and he doesn't want to talk. What's going on? Is everything okay? Everything's all right? Oh, all right. Okay. All right. No big deal. I was just in the middle of telling people what we're doing for the show. That's all. All right. So Scaramucci coming up at the bottom at hour number 2, the bottom of the hour. Hour number 3. This is a video that is going viral. I think that's very fair to say. An umpire getting into it with some parents at a Little League baseball game. We will explain to you what the parents said to this umpire that made the umpire walk off in the middle of the game. We will explain that to you coming up in hour number 3. Also, wow, this is a loaded show today. It's going to take me 25 minutes just to get through what we're doing today. Ellis Island, the girls from Ellis Island, ownership of Ellis Island, going to be coming in. They got a new beer garden over there. They got some cool stuff going on. Very, very cool casino. Best place in Las Vegas, in my opinion, to do karaoke. So they're going to be coming in studio to talk a little bit about that. Floyd Mayweather, making some references to the fact that he might be getting back into the ring in 2020. And the UNLV football team playing their last game at Sam Boyd Stadium tomorrow against San Jose State. Wow. A lot to get to, a lot to go over. Let's get into it. And I want to start off quickly by saying I went to the Vegas Golden Knights game last night. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, the Vegas Take page, I'm wearing my Vegas Knights winter hat that was given to all the fans and members of the media. It's a hat helping to raise money, of course, for cancer research. They do a great job with that. Tough game last night for the Vegas Golden Knights as they played their rivals. Let's call it for what it is. Let's call it the San Jose Sharks. This is the team that, people love to hate in Las Vegas. And Knights didn't play their best game. There's no question about that. And San Jose had their backup goaltender in there. Knights outshot the Sharks, but they didn't get enough quality shots. There's no question about that. Anyway, long story short, the game went to overtime, and the Knights ended up losing this game 2-1. So a tough loss for the Vegas Golden Knights. It was a great crowd, great atmosphere, and it was a lot of fun last night. I also want to thank Tropical Smoothie Cafe. They came in today, and they brought some smoothies. All right, let's get down to business here. We've been talking a lot about this Fiona Hill testimony. And there are many people on the right, many people on Fox News, many right-wing conspiracy theorists that are going after this woman for absolutely and positively no reason. So Sean Hannity was on, he did his show on TV last night. And apparently on his television show, he thinks he knows more than the Ukrainian and Russian politics than Hill does, apparently. The reason why I say that is because he referred to Hill as a so-called Ukraine expert. He mocked her testimony. He claimed Hill falsely accused Republicans of pushing a conspiracy theory about the Ukrainian election interference. That's completely not true. And then one personality from the OANN network. Have you heard of these people? The chief White House correspondent for One America News Network. It is a far-right media organization with little reach that Trump keeps promoting, implied in a tweet Thursday that Fiona Hill and Vindeman were not real Americans. Can you believe that? Vindeman, a man who has served this country honorably, who has shrapnel in his body, who risked his life for this country, and they promote a tweet that they're not real Americans. How can you be more real American than that when you risk your life for this country? That's the first question I would ask. Both Hill and Vindeman obviously were born outside the United States, but they're citizens, as I mentioned, who served honorably. But OANN's Emerald Robinson, have you heard of this woman? Never heard of her before. She didn't appear to have much regard for their service. In fact, in a tweet, she mocked Hill's accent and wrote, "I'm wondering, are any Americans going to testify against Trump?" Let me repeat that again. She mocked Vindeman and Hill and said, "Are any Americans going to testify against Trump?" This is a woman who smears everybody on the left, and now she has decided to smear war heroes. Jake Tapper on CNN noted that it was ugly and frankly un-American thing to say. Robinson ultimately deleted her tweet. Of course she did, claiming it was being misconstrued. Really, how can you misconstrue that? When you say that American citizens that fought for your freedoms and risked their lives for this country are not American. How could that be misconstrued? It is ridiculous. And on Sean Hannity's show last night, he claimed to his viewers that the hearings were a dud An absolutely unmitigated disaster for the Democrats. The banner on his show on Fox News read, "Just like the Russia hoax, Ukraine impeachment sham dies an embarrassing death for Democrats on Capitol Hill." What the hell are they talking about on Fox News? Are they actually watching the testimony and listening? Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham also mocked the hearings. Radio host Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh have continued to spin for Trump. Websites like Breitbart have showed no signs of turning him, and the bottom line, Trump's right-wing media wall has held. One notable person that has not been on Fox News all week, geez, I wonder why. Maybe because he's honest, maybe because he's fair, is Judge Andrew Napolitano. As you know, Judge Andrew Napolitano has not been wearing the Donald Trump knee pads like many others do on Fox News. No, instead they decided to replace Judge Andrew Napolitano, who is one of the most well-respected people on TV. They replaced him with Ken Starr and Andrew McCarthy, two others that are wearing the Donald Trump knee pads. This is Fox News. This is what they do. And I am not going to sit here and say that CNN doesn't do some of the same stuff and they're not biased, because obviously they are, and so is MSNBC. But if you're one of those people on the right that are going to call CNN fake news and you're going to call MSNBC fake news, you damn right better call Fox News fake news also. Otherwise, you are a biased clown. And I just gave you several very key examples. If you're a Republican out there and you're okay with talk show hosts attacking Vindman, calling him not an American, attacking Hill, and going after her accent, if you're okay with that sort of stuff, then I don't want to hear your crap about how CNN is fake news and you want to criticize MSNBC and CNN. You better criticize Fox News also, because it's disgusting. And there should be no place for that ever in the media, ever. And yeah, by the way, it does start with the President of the United States. Let me explain. Speaking of Fox News, he made an appearance, almost an hour-long interview this morning on Fox and Friends. And I gotta tell you, some of this audio is unbelievable. It shows that the president is not well. He's not mentally well. I don't know if he suffered a stroke. I don't know if he's got heart problems. I don't know why he went to the hospital last week, but we know one thing for sure. He is not mentally right. This was a lengthy and rambling interview by Donald Trump earlier this morning on Fox and Friends. He's accusing now the hosts of Fox and Friends of lying when they said they didn't know who the identity was of the Ukraine whistleblower. Have a listen to this audio.
Let me just interrupt for a second. Mr. President, you said we know the name of the whistleblower. We've seen names on the internet. We have no idea who the whistleblower is.
Right. No, I don't believe. Steve, can I tell you? I know you.
I don't know.
Well. I know you.
I've seen names, but I don't know who it is.
But it's a. All right. I don't think Steve has ever told a lie, Ainsley and Brian, in his life. But that one, I'm sort of thinking, oh, come on.
So you expected
you're a great person. I'm always telling people I watch your show in the morning. I don't watch the other garbage.
No, we've seen names online, but Mr. President, we don't have any verification.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anyway. We're not going to use it. We're not going to use it. Verification. You know exactly who it is, Steve. Right. Okay, but I like that you say that.
Right. I mean, what is Trump talking about? He's accusing these people on Fox and Friends of lying. And they're absolutely right. We don't have any verifications from anybody that we know exactly who the whistleblower is. And the president is calling them liars, saying that they do. This guy is absolutely losing his mind. And by the way, I am going to agree with Brian Kilmeade. I don't always agree with him, but I'm going to agree with him here. Even if they did know who it was, they're not going to use it on the air because it's not the right thing to do. I agree. Of course, Trump doesn't address that. Of course he doesn't. This man is not well. Then he decides to go after George Conway this morning, suggesting that Nikki Haley might be the running mate in 2020. Have a listen to this.
Well, Kellyanne is great, but she's married to a total whack job. I think she must have done some number on him, Ainsley. I don't know what Kellyanne did to that guy, but because I don't even know him. I mean, I met him for
George
second.
Conway.
He's got to be some kind of a nut job. She must have done some bad things to him because that guy is crazy.
Okay, so why is he crazy? Why is he a nut job? Because he doesn't like you, Mr. President? Because he criticizes you, Mr. President? Because he doesn't kiss your ass every day like Kellyanne Conway does? Because he doesn't lie for you every day? The man is entitled to his opinion. Now, I would make the argument that he's so against you because he wants to make a name for himself as an attorney. But why is he crazy? Why is he nuts? Do you notice anybody that is against the president, anybody that disagrees with the president, anybody that doesn't kiss the president's ass He calls names. Must be nuts, must be crazy. He must have done something. Kellyanne Conway must have done something to him. Well, guess what, Mr. President? You hired Kellyanne Conway. Maybe you should have done a little bit of investigative work to find out who her husband is before you decided to hire her. You're the one that's nuts. You're the one that's crazy. It's your administration that hired her. Deal with the consequences. He has a right to share his opinion just like you do. And Trump continued, this time saying he wants a trail.
But you know who I want as the first witness? Because, frankly, I want a trial. I could think I could have it.
You want a trial?
Whatever I want. Oh, I would. Look, number one, they should never, ever impeach. This is not impeach. I watched 5 people on your network yesterday say there's nothing here.
And excuse me, I misspoke there. A trial. He wants a trial. I said trail. Now, it's amazing to me that there still are people out there that think that, this man is right with anything that comes out of his mouth. Let's just reflect on what he said here. Now, this was a very long interview. This was close to a 60-minute interview. He did a lot of rambling. He accused some of the Fox and Friend hosts of lying, saying that they knew who the whistleblower was, which is not necessarily true. Then he went after George Conway and said that Kellyanne Conway must have done something very bad to him, calling him crazy, a bunch of other names, just because he disagrees with Trump. And now he's saying he wants a trial. Well, let me just give the President of the United States an update. Last I checked, Mr. President, these impeachment inquiry hearings are still going on. There's more witnesses that are going to be up there, in my opinion, including John Bolton. And I've said this a million times, and I'll say it again. There are 2 different types of Republicans. I spoke to a few last night at the Vegas Golden Knights game. People who I respect. 2 different types of Republicans right now when it comes to this impeachment inquiry hearing. There are the type of Republicans that are extremely reasonable. While I don't agree with everything they say, I don't agree with what anybody says, everything. I don't care whether you're a Democrat or Republican, but that's fine. But there are some Republicans that are reasonable, and those reasonable Republicans are saying, look, what the president did was wrong. There's enough evidence to suggest that the president should not have brought up the Bidens in that phone call. The president, if it's true, should not have withheld aid for an investigation into an American politician. There are Republicans that are saying that, but then many of those Republicans say, I don't think it reaches an impeachable offense. And that's fine. Like I've said before, I'm willing to have that discussion. I disagree, but state your case. I want to hear it. That is a fair opinion. That is a fair take on this issue. But you have to admit from the core, this was wrong of the president to do. Beyond inappropriate at minimum. To possibly withhold aid for personal gain is abuse of power. To bring up the Bidens in this situation and to all of a sudden say that he cares about corruption when there was a ton of corruption in his own administration and many of those are in jail right now, but to say that all of a sudden he just cares about corruption and he wants to save taxpayer money is absurd and it is ridiculous. So anyway, those are the Republicans that I speak to on a daily basis that are reasonable, that I could have a good conversation with. Doesn't mean we're going to agree, but I could have a good conversation with those people. And there are plenty of them out there. But then there are the Republicans that I just spoke about that are in the media and that are all over that are completely unreasonable. These are the Republicans, talk show hosts, media members who are calling this a sham. The people like Nunez and Jordan who are calling these this inquiry, they're calling it a circus. These are the people that are going after the witnesses that are testifying, that are going after Vindman, that are calling him un-American, someone who risked his life for this country, who has shrapnel in his body as we speak. Those that are calling it a sham, that are saying Schiff should testify, that he should go to jail. Those that don't want the truth. If you put party before the truth, what does that make you? I would call that person a coward. Somebody who doesn't want to know the truth. Why would all these people get up there and lie? Why? Why would Sondland, who, by the way, donated $1 million to the Donald Trump campaign, said that he had multiple discussions with Rudy Giuliani. Donald Trump's personal attorney said there was a quid pro quo. Straight from Rudy Giuliani. Do you think Rudy Giuliani's doing all this stuff on his own? You think he's making these decisions with Sondland on his own? Is there any reasonable person out there that thinks that Rudy Giuliani went behind the president's back and had discussions about Ukraine and the investigation into the Bidens on his own without any direction from the president of the United States? Is there really any person out there that believes that with an IQ above 20? Anybody that's not biased that would believe that? Of course not. It is very simple here to connect the dots. And connecting the dots, I mean, I can make this as basic for you as possible. Yes, the president was more concerned about Joe Biden than Ukraine. Yes, the president was withholding aid to make sure that the Ukrainians opened up an investigation into the Bidens. Yes, said it on the phone call. Was there a direct quid pro quo in the phone call? No. But he brought up Joe Biden. Do me a favor. You've got Giuliani running around everywhere. You've got Sondland testifying that there was a quid pro quo. A man who tried to protect the president of the United States a few weeks ago, then was forced to change his testimony when he realized, uh-oh, if I lie, I could get in big trouble. I might go to jail. I might end up like Paul Manafort. I might end up like Michael Cohen or Papadopoulos or whatever the hell that guy's name is. And then Sondland changed his testimony. This man, you know, you want to talk about somebody who's not credible at all, who donated $1 million to the Trump campaign, but he was forced to be forthcoming. Now, do I think he gave up everything? No, because I still think he's protecting the president, but at the same time he said, well, I got to protect myself too. Those are the two types of Republicans that we're dealing with here. And look, I could go the same way with the Democrats. Democrats are the same way. There's probably some Democrats out there that don't want the truth. They just want to vilify the president every chance they get without the facts. I don't doubt that. But I truly believe that there are Democrats out there that want the truth and believe this is extremely serious and it could be an impeachable offense. I absolutely feel that way. 150%. It goes both ways. There are phonies on the left and there are phonies on the right. But in this specific situation, I'm not really talking about the Democrats here. I'm talking about the Republicans that are going after all these witnesses that are testifying, some of whom are Purple Heart war heroes that risk their life for this country, calling them un-American, going after them. It is disgusting. It's a disgrace. Why can't we all be reasonable here? I don't know if this is an impeachable offense. I don't know. We're going to learn more information. These impeachment hearings are not over with yet. But why can't people be reasonable? I'll tell you why some people can't be reasonable. They can't be reasonable because they care more about their party than if the president committed a crime. The Jim Jordans of the world, who, by the way, interrupts people left and right on the stand. Funny, he didn't interrupt the wrestling coach. He didn't interrupt the doctor on the wrestling team, did he? He didn't do that. Or how about the several students that went into his office claiming that they told him about sexual abuse? Well, he didn't really do anything about that, did he? Allegedly, he didn't. Why would those kids lie? But no, he claims all those kids are lying, right? And now he claims all these people are lying on the stand. That's the character of Jim Jordan. How the hell does that guy get into office? What a disgrace. What a horrible human being. The pedophile enabler asking questions to witnesses, that guy shouldn't be representing anybody. He should be behind bars, as far as I'm concerned. But Republicans are you know, they love this guy, Jim Jordan. They love him. Because, you know, why wouldn't you love a guy like that who enables pedophilia? It's a joke. It's disgusting. It's ridiculous. Well, I'll tell you what, coming up next, we're going to be speaking with Mr. X. He is also known on this show as the Hollywood Conservative. We call him that because he is a Donald Trump supporter and he is a longtime producer out there in Hollywood. I want to know, how are people taking these impeachment inquiry hearings out there in Hollywood? Also, a Julia Roberts story in regards to Harriet Tubman. We're going to talk to him about that coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take. Be back right after this.
Haul packages for a living? A gas-powered Mercedes-Benz Sprinter delivers. Transport people? A Sprinter van with 0% financing is a 5-star idea. If food delivery is your thing, then a gas Sprinter caters to you. And if you're a general contractor, the Sprinter with 0% financing nails it. With innovation, safety, and technology, Sprinter is built for you. And it's built for your bottom line with 0% financing. The Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, starting at just $33,790. And for a limited time with IRS Section 179, you could be eligible for up to a $25,000 tax deduction. Gas engine, 0% financing, and a possible tax deduction? Now that's a Sprinter that delivers. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
MSRP excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Only valid on 2018 or 2019 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans excluding cab chassis. Qualified commercial customers only. Financing offer valid through January 2nd, 2020. Consult your tax advisor. For more information, limits may apply. Visit mbvans.com.
Hey, it's Lee Goldberg of the GCI guys at Realty One Group. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, rent, move from California? If so, give them my number, 702-902-3029. All listeners of the Vegas Take get $1,000 in your hand back at closing. Hometown heroes, veteran, military, police, teacher, nurse, I'm giving you $2,000 back. That also goes for hospitality and casino employees. Free use of a moving truck for a day, 6 free months of home security. Call me, 702-902-3029, the GCI guys.
Listen to 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, wherever you have an Amazon Echo device. Simply enable the KDWN skill on your Amazon Alexa app. Then say, Alexa, open KDON.
Thank you for opening KDWN. You can choose Play Live Stream.
On the air, on the web, on the KDWN app, and now on your Amazon Echo. 101.5 FM, 720 AM.
Thank you for listening to KDWN.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
This is Chelsea Stunkel with the Nevada Highway Patrol. Buckle up, drive safe, and don't drive impaired. No excuse is worth your life, and we want everyone to have 0 fatalities as their goal. If you see an impaired driver, dial 911 or star NHP and get those drunk drivers off the road. Please be safe out there.
I'm Tony Elliott with the Nevada Department of Transportation. If you're looking for up-to-date road and construction information, be sure to visit our website, nevadadot.com.
President Trump tells Fox News he stands with Mike Pence as his running mate for 2020.
Nikki would be great, but Mike Pence has done a phenomenal job as vice president. He's our guy. He's my friend. Look, we have a great team.
Okay,
it's been a very strong team.
Trump says Democrats and witnesses made things up. He charged former Ambassador Yovanovitch didn't want to put his picture up in the embassy. Her lawyers very quickly responded, saying the president's claim was completely false. Trump suggests he's open to his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, leaving the administration to pursue a Senate seat in Kansas if he thinks there's a chance of losing that seat. A rare find of an almost perfect copy of a Marvel Comics book has gone for $1.26 million at auction. On Wall Street, the Dow is up about 80 points at this hour. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Dispatch Health. Cheyenne Avenue is closed westbound over I-15 at the overpass because of a crash. You'll need to take an alternate route. Take Lake Mead Boulevard or Cary. Also expect some slowing on the 95 southbound from the Spaghetti Bowl to Casino Center Boulevard. Overall, a nice recovery from this morning's rush hour, but there's still going to be some light slowing on the Southern Beltway westbound between the airport connector and I-15. When you're sick, every minute counts. Go to dispatchhealth.com where high-quality medical care comes to you. Visit dispatchhealth.com to learn about medical professionals who make house calls. Dispatch Health, covered by most insurance. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
This is Lorraine Hunt Bono, inviting you to tune in for Breaking Bread with Bono. Join my husband, Dennis Bono, as celebrities share with him their intimate and humorous stories. Saturdays, 5 to 6 p.m., right here on KDON.
So, what would you do with an extra $500 a month in your budget? $500. This isn't hypothetical, by the way. This is something you may need to think about very soon if you decide to become a member of MediShare. MediShare is a way to pay for your health care, and typically it costs $500 less per month for a family versus other healthcare plans. So seriously, think about this. You could pay off loans, pay down a mortgage, save the money for retirement, donate to charity. That would be a big deal. But you know what? Here's the best thing. MediShare works. It's a Christian healthcare sharing ministry with 400,000 members. They've shared over $2 billion in medical bills, so they can help share your needs too. And with MediShare, not only do you save, you don't have to pay for things you don't believe in. And that's a beautiful thing too. So here's how you can find out more, and you might actually wind up saving even more than $500 a month. So check into it. 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and listen to us deliver timely, balanced truths about our market right here in Southern Nevada. You know, there's nothing that I enjoy more than educating our listeners about real estate, except maybe a well-prepared Reuben sandwich where the corned beef is really lean. Sorry, I digress. But please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM 720 AM KDON. Talk of Las Vegas.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM 1015 FM KDWN every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12:30 p.m.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM 720 AM KDON.
She must have done some bad things to him because that guy is crazy.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Donald Trump calling somebody crazy. Wow, the irony. Welcome back to the show. We're obviously covering the impeachment inquiry hearings, everything that has taken place this week, last week. It's getting interesting. Maybe not positive for Donald Trump and his administration, but it certainly is getting interesting. The guy we have with us on the line right now, he is a Donald Trump supporter. He is a Hollywood producer. We call him Mr. X, the Hollywood conservative, out of fear that something negative might happen to him if we release his name on the air. Mr. X, thank you for joining us. How are you?
What's up, Mr. X? I have a new favorite quote, actually, that I received earlier this week. I was in consideration to write a Western for a small production company, and they reached out and said, we think we're going to go with a female writer because we don't want to appear sexist.
That's seriously, that happened?
Oh, 100%. It is phenomenal. My actual response, I'm not kidding you, was I actually cut and pasted from online the dictionary definition of the word sexist.
Wow, that's
that's
rough. That's rough.
Man.
As you know,
this is the liberal. This is your party, man.
Well, no, it's not my party because I'm not a liberal and I'm not associated with a party, and also I don't defend any of that stuff. I don't defend any of that stuff, not giving somebody a job or giving somebody a job because of gender, sex, you name it. You know, I think that's the problem with this country is we associate each other with parties instead of associating each other with Americans.
Well, what was it called? Annie Get Your Gun? Because if it was, then I could understand that. No, it wasn't, actually. That's the funny thing. It's actually like a pretty male-centric script or concept, so I think that's why they're very misguided.
Well, speaking of parties, let's talk a little bit about this party they're calling the impeachment inquiry. I just did a segment, talking a little bit about how Republicans are out there with these conspiracy theories. They're going after these witnesses, some of whom are war heroes. For example, Vindman, who's a Purple Heart recipient, who has shrapnel in his body, who is clearly more American than me. That's for sure. He risked his life for this country. And then there are politicians, there are right-wing talk show hosts that are calling him un-American. Some even joking around saying, when are we going to get a real American on the stand? I can't imagine that you support that kind of rhetoric.
You want my honest thoughts about the impeachment proceedings?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
And then specifically what I asked you about some of those comments.
Here's my thoughts. Do you think Trump's going to be impeached?
Well, if there are a couple Republicans out there in your party that have a backbone, I would say yes, but I don't think they do have a backbone, so I would say no.
Just to confirm,
this is a dog and pony show in ahead of the next election because the Democrats are desperate because they do not have a real candidate,
which is very true.
A dog and pony show? You don't have a problem with anything the president has done based on the evidence that?
Of course I have a problem with some of the things that he's done. Do I think he should be impeached? Absolutely not. Do I think that every president prior to him for probably the past 30 to 40 years have done things just as bad or worse? 100%.
Where's the evidence to support that?
It's purely a PR battle.
I see, but I disagree with you. Where's the evidence? Listen, I'm not a Barack Obama supporter, but where is the evidence to back up that claim that you're telling me that Barack Obama withheld aid to a country for personal gain?
Withheld what?
Withheld financial aid to a country for personal gain. Show me evidence of that.
I mean, I don't have any evidence.
So why would you make that statement then?
Well, I mean, what about this, Brad? What about when he gave lots of money to Iran?
Completely different scenario.
And other countries like
Completely
that, considering
different.
that they are Muslim countries and he himself is a Muslim as well. Isn't that kind of in his best interest or for personal gain?
So you think that's a valid point?
How is it not a valid point?
So you're saying the money
isn't that kind of on the same plane though?
It purely is how that president is viewed by the media and in general, and the way that they try to portray him. Because yes, that could absolutely be just as bad. No question about it.
What personal gain did Barack Obama get by doing that?
I don't know. Maybe he's got ties to some Muslim radicals that help.
Right. No evidence to support that. No evidence to support that.
You don't know that it didn't increase his relationships with those countries.
You don't know it either. So why you don't know it either. So why would you make a claim when you have no idea what you're saying?
I'm just saying it could be construed as something that helps Barack Obama, giving
and
money.
I'm asking you how.
And he gave a lot of money to some of
and
those
I'm
countries.
asking you. I have evidence with Donald Trump.
It would increase his relationships.
Here's the difference between.
You don't have.
Here's the difference between.
Brian.
You have what MSNBC.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I have the transcript. No, I don't. The difference between what you two guys are doing and what I'm doing is I actually have evidence. He actually brought up the Bidens in that conversation. There are witnesses that have testified the last 2 weeks that said they believe there was a quid pro quo. There are evidence. Sondland testified that Giuliani told him that we are withholding the aid unless they open up an investigation into the Bidens. That is the president's personal attorney. That's evidence.
Okay. Let me. I think I incorrectly phrased what I said earlier.
Okay, fair enough.
Is there a specifically, and this is not a rhetorical question, is there a specifically laid out list of actions or things that a president can do which would lead to his impeachment?
Listen, that's a different debate. I don't know if what he did was impeachable.
No, it's not at all.
That's a different debate.
I could look at a policy that Obama or Bush, or it could be anything. The fact that he went on Saturday Night Live, I could find that so horrifically offensive that I think he should be impeached for it.
Okay, but listen, I had this conversation.
What he's saying, it's based on personal preference instead of a solid guideline.
And the point that I'm trying to make is that Trump has done many things that could be viewed as a positive for this country. And he's probably done a lot of shady things.
But no one talks about the positive.
I believe a lot of previous presidents have done. Any policy, let's say Obama, created a policy that was anti, the NRA or something like that or whatever. Like, I could view that and go, this guy should be impeached.
Okay, well, he could be the perfect. Here's my opinion on that. I'll give you 2 points. He could be the perfect president. Everything could be great and dandy. It still wouldn't make what he did on that phone call right. That's number one. Number two.
Fine. I'm not saying that. But the point is, what is the bar for impeachment? And it's a serious question.
Well, certainly
like, Bill Clinton sticking a cigar into an intern? I don't know. Should he be impeached?
Well, because he lied about it under oath. He lied about it under oath.
Okay, fine.
But okay, so let me answer your question. Let me answer your question.
The bar?
Well, let me tell you what I think the bar is here. Okay, I think Sondland's testimony, a guy who donated $1 million to the Trump campaign, a guy who has protected the president at every end. In fact, a few weeks ago in a written statement, he lied and then he changed his testimony because he was trying to protect the president. This guy gets up there on the stand and said he had multiple conversations with Donald Trump's personal attorney with a quid pro quo. I find that to be very troubling and serious, and anybody should. We had a guy that testified yesterday that overheard a phone conversation, actually heard Donald Trump's voice, and they were talking about that, just that. Those, to me, are very, very serious situations, and they should be taken seriously. Now, will it rise to the level of impeachment? I don't know. I can tell you right now, if we had Donald Trump on audio saying, I'm going to withhold this aid until you open up an investigation, I would say, Mr. X, 110% that is an impeachable offense. But the fact that Giuliani gave a quid pro quo to Sondland, to me, is extremely troubling and serious, and it should be troubling to anybody.
Listen, man, here's what I'm going to say to that. Don't tell me what I think should be troubling. Seriously. Like, let's say that the point I'm trying to make is that there are many people in this country who have been directly or indirectly helped by things that Donald Trump has done as a president, just as there were by Obama and the various factions of society that he has helped or harmed. The factions of society that he's helped probably disagree with you. That, let's say Trump did do something that was very troubling that you just described. Let's say he did do something for personal gain. They look at that and go, no, don't impeach this guy. He's doing a great job. So I go back to my question. What are the firmly laid out things that a president can or cannot do which could lead to impeachment? That's my issue.
Abuse of power, putting yourself before the country, putting yourself before the country.
And every president in history at some point probably should have been impeached.
So give me a specific.
They've all done it to a degree.
Done something where they benefited from being president. Like, look at Obama and Michelle Obama. Like, she's writing a book.
That's after the presidency, and there's no. That's a ridiculous analogy. That's a ridiculous analogy.
I mean, it could be argued that
there is no law.
Brian, it could be argued that some of the money that Obama gave Muslim countries was used to form ISIS.
Every
and
single
he did that for his own self-interest.
There's no evidence to support any of that. That's a conspiracy theory.
Okay, so then let me ask you a question. Do you think that Obama did anything during his presidency that benefited himself?
You're not talking about post-presidency, because I don't know why you'd bring up a book that Michelle Obama made.
I'm trying to make a point. Fine, forget the book. During his presidency, do you think Obama did anything that gained him personally?
I don't know. Give me an example. I'll hear you out. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, what about?
I don't have any information.
Go on ESPN and talk about the March Madness. Like,
so let me get this straight. All right, so let's talk about this for a second. You're comparing, and I know you're a smart guy. You are comparing.
Don't accept the backhand compliment. Don't do it.
Okay. You are comparing Barack Obama doing a TV interview talking about basketball as the president of the United States to Donald Trump withholding aid to open up an investigation into a political rival. Are you really making that analogy?
You're doing what most reporters and, frankly, Democrats do, which is to try to miss the point and compare.
Give me something that you think Obama has done that raises to the level.
He's trying to catch you.
The point I'm trying to make is I asked you a question that you still haven't answered.
Because I don't know the answer to it. I'm not going to make something up like a lot of Republicans have done the last couple of weeks. I don't have the answer.
I'm asking your opinion. Do you think that Barack Obama did anything during his presidency that benefited him?
I don't have anything in front of me, and I can't. Now, certainly he's benefited after the presidency.
Okay, so you're saying no. So you're saying you don't.
No, I'm saying
literally the guy was a saint.
I didn't say he was a saint. I didn't say he was. Didn't say that.
Okay.
Didn't say that.
The point is,
Barack Obama was literally Barry Poppins.
Okay, well, I didn't say that, so I don't know why you guys are.
Not only that, but this guy was like the master of.
So I'm asking you a question now. Tell me, what did the only thing you've brought up is a book that Michelle Obama did after the presidency, which is ridiculous, and then you brought up an interview that he did on ESPN. I'm asking you a question now, and I'm turning it back on you. I'm asking you a question. What did Barack Obama do that raises to the level of what Donald Trump did withholding aid? I'm all ears. Tell me.
That's not you're nothing. Barack Obama. I have no evidence of any particular action that Barack Obama performed that is quote unquote worse than what you're
okay good
Donald Trump.
Okay, good. That's my point.
Now, great. Now here's my point. What is an impeachable offense for a president? You said if the president does something that benefits himself.
Abuse of power.
That's what you said.
Abuse of power.
Okay. And my question was, do you think that Barack Obama and all of the previous presidents that have run this country have ever utilized their power in any way that did not strictly benefit the country? Do you think that from dawn till dusk, every action they committed fully 100% was only good for the country, or do you think that they did anything good for themselves?
The reason why, when you bring up Barack Obama, I cannot answer that question is because I don't have any evidence, just like the way you answered it.
We're not lawyers in a courtroom, dude.
Right.
I'm asking a simple question.
What about the way that Barack Obama handled the Trayvon Martin situation, and he pandered towards African Americans, and he definitely made racial relations worse in this country?
That's an opinion. That doesn't have to do with personal gain. What does it have to do with personal gain?
It doesn't. It does have to do with personal gain.
What?
It does. Look, I don't think that you're understanding my question. My point is,
I don't think you're understanding my answer. I'm not going to say no or yes when I have no evidence to back it up.
So is your opinion that impeachment is something that should strictly be based upon the opinion of how certain people feel about what
I believe, I'll answer by saying this. I believe it should be a case-by-case basis based on the seriousness of the allegations, based on the evidence.
You're opening a horrible can of worms.
If you can if you could tell me something that another president did, I'll hear you out.
Listen, no, that's not the point. The point is, whoever our next president is, let's say that it's a Democrat, right? And they do something, whatever it is, that the Republicans view as being so wrong that the good that they have performed is null and void, and that they should be kicked out of the presidency. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, well, you have to understand where I'm coming from, though. We're not talking about a stick of bubble gum. Okay, there are different levels that we are talking about, different degrees of the seriousness of abuse of power. Okay, we're not talking about a free meal.
No, we're not. You're not getting what I'm saying. It is the opinion of the Democrats and apparently of you that something that Trump did is worse than the good that he's done, or is worse than what past presidents.
It shouldn't be a part of the conversation.
What Clinton did.
Shouldn't be a part of that conversation. The good that he's done has nothing to do with these impeachment inquiries.
If there's a law, if there are particular actions that a president can commit where he will be impeached, and somebody does one of those things, then impeach him. My problem with this whole proceeding is that it is strictly based, clearly, to anyone who's not horrifically biased, it's clearly based on, to really just attack Trump's reputation and try to harm him.
Yeah, because he has such a wonderful reputation to this point. You're right.
Well, because of the media and because they were.
Oh yeah, don't put any responsibility on Donald Trump's. Don't put any responsibility on Donald Trump's actions, behaviors, tweets, going after John McCain, going after a Gold Star family, attacking a woman based on her looks, cheating on Melania Trump, paying Stormy Daniels $120,000. It has nothing to do with his behaviors, right? It has everything to do on the media.
You know what's hilarious about what you just said? What does any of that have to do with the good of the country?
You just talked about his reputation.
No. You said that if a president does something that's for their own good and not the good of the country, what if those things you just mentioned have any effect on any?
I'll tell you why I brought those up. I'll tell you why I brought those up, and I will answer your question.
You're biased and because you hate Trump.
No, it's because it's because you mentioned his reputation and you blame the media, and I just gave you 4 or 5 examples. Exactly. His own doing and his own behavior. Now I will answer your question.
Why the Democrats are so stupid is because they're attacking his reputation, and nobody cares.
Exactly.
They care about jobs. They care about the economy. They care about the things that he's actually doing that are important.
The Democrats don't understand.
It's like social media, like TMZ nonsense about what he tweeted. Like,
okay, well, that's your opinion. I don't think it's TMZ. Exactly. I don't think it's TMZ nonsense when you get up there on a stage with Vladimir Putin and kiss his ass. I don't think it's TMZ nonsense when you get up there on a stage with Kim Jong-un and say, "I believe you. You had nothing to do with the Otto Warmbier murder." I don't think that's TMZ nonsense, and I also don't think it's TMZ nonsense when you withhold aid from another country, an ally, for personal gain because of a political opponent that is going to be going up against you in 2020. That is not TMZ, and that is not Kim Kardashian. That is not Kim Kardashian showing her underwear. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the President of the United States. I'm sorry, what'd you say, JD? I was just trying to finish my point.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
They were trying to make sure that they weren't corrupt. He was making sure that he wasn't giving $1 billion to a country where the money could be misappropriated, and I have no problem with him.
So it had nothing to do with the.
Also, Joe Biden has been in office for 30 to 40 years, and he also was ensuring that the Burisma situation with his son wasn't totally corrupt, considering the investigation lasted about 3 hours.
And there was no evidence that any law was broken.
Because the investigation lasted about 3 hours, House Democrats were involved, and Joe Biden went on TV and said, if this isn't done in 6 hours, I'm withholding $1 billion because I'm suspecting corruption.
Not factually accurate, and there is no evidence to support that anybody broke the law You could make the argument that his son probably got the job because of his father, but that is not against the law.
So why would someone hire a guy from the United States, pay him 70 grand a month, and have him do what?
I could ask the same thing about Jared Kushner. It's the same situation. Why would Jared Kushner be in the position he is in? Because his father-in-law is Donald Trump.
Jared Kushner is where? Where is he? What country?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because this is a foreign country hiring a guy from the United States.
We're talking about the same thing here.
Whose father? No, we're not.
He didn't break the law.
A foreign country hiring a guy
This isn't
from,
about Joe
from the
Biden
United
and his
States
son.
whose father is the vice president of the United States.
So what did he do? How did they break the law?
We have absolutely no idea, but is it possible?
Exactly. You have no idea. Exactly. You made my point.
Because
you're forming an opinion and you have no idea.
You're not actually not letting me form my opinion, Brian. You're
well,
trying
form
to,
it. I've heard this argument with you before.
You're trying to stop me from forming the opinion.
I've heard this. Go ahead. I've heard it a million times.
I suggest that you don't do that.
Well, go ahead.
Okay,
make your opinion. I've heard it.
You.
I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Oh, you know what I'm going to say? What am I going to say, Brian?
I do. You're going to give details of how you think the Bidens are corrupt and they broke the law. When there's no evidence to support
what I'm going to say is, why would a major oil company from a different country hire the son of the vice president of the United States?
That's exactly. I was right.
Unless they were looking for specific information, private information that the son will be able to give them from the vice president of the United States, because the son had zero experience or zero business being hired by that company.
I was right. That's exactly what you just did.
I'm asking
You're making
why,
assumptions.
I'm asking you, why would they do that?
I just told you why. I've said this a million times. And by the way, I was right. I knew you were going to say that. It's because his father at the time was the vice president of the United States. But that doesn't mean he broke the law.
But that's
what you don't understand.
From Jared.
Go ahead, Mr. X. Go ahead.
It's fine. I want to relate to something that you asked earlier, because I'm sad to say, I'm in the film industry. I don't pay a ton of attention to like the day-by-day nonsense of politics. So to answer your question, I'm literally reading an article right now about terrible things that Barack Obama did during his
Are you on InfoWars?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. I was just checking.
I'm looking at these facts, and I'm not even going to get into it, but like even something like Obamacare, right, which was everyone knew about, and which, in my opinion, was an unmitigated disaster.
Well, they gave 20 million people health insurance that didn't have it at the time. So I disagree with you.
Fine. Regardless, in my opinion, he should have been impeached for proposing Obamacare.
Okay. Well, I think that's ridiculous. I think that's utterly ridiculous.
I think your opinion's ridiculous.
That's fine.
With all of the positive things that he's done, because of this phone call and because of
once again, you're comparing
which could be construed as standard negotiation. You're comparing.
Hold on a second. Now another comparison. You're comparing Barack Obama and Obamacare and pushing that through to Donald Trump withholding aid for personal gain. You're really comparing the two.
In fact, I would say Obamacare is 1,000 times worse.
Okay, well, that's insane. So what would you say to the 20 million people that got health insurance that didn't have it before? What would you say to the 20 million people now that have health insurance that weren't able to have health insurance before Obamacare? What would you say to them?
It's not affordable. It's disastrous. The medical industry is incredibly corrupt, and I think that it raised taxes for people that should not.
And do you know why? And do you know why Republicans didn't pass it? Do you know why?
Do you know what Obamacare did to small businesses?
Well,
it basically destroyed them.
I was going to ask you.
It helped corporations.
Then
Brian.
what is the Republicans' answer? Why didn't they have an answer? Why didn't they have something that they could pass through? There's a reason why John McCain didn't vote it in. You know why? Because the Republicans didn't have a plan. All they did was complain about Obamacare. What is the answer then?
It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is it was a disaster.
Then what's the solution? Then what's your solution?
I'm not going to give a solution. That's not the point I'm trying to raise. The point I'm trying to make is that you believe that whatever Trump did, this phone call and withholding, your opinion about something that he withheld aid or whatever it is worse and a reason for someone to not be president opposed to all of the good that he has done.
I'd say it's worse than Bill Clinton. And the good he has done should have no bearing on the conversation. We're talking about what he did. If somebody murders somebody, do you talk about, well, you know what?
That's an absurd statement.
If somebody commits a mass shooting, do we talk about, well, you know, he was a really great guy?
So are you comparing a mass shooting to what Donald Trump did now, Brian?
I'm comparing an analogy. I'm comparing an analogy.
That's a left-wing biased buffoon analogy you made there, Brian.
You're just making ridiculous comments now. The reason why.
No, you are.
Okay, listen.
The point I'm trying to make is
the point you're making is because he did some good things that we should ignore the bad things? Is that what you're saying?
I think you're sounding like a left-wing biased buffoon, Brian.
Okay. JD, that's JD's just out there trying to be funny. It's not working.
Brian,
yeah.
You created jobs for millions of people for the good of the country.
Mr. X, can you stick around for another 15 minutes?
I can't, guys.
I'm up against a hard break.
I wish I could.
Damn it.
I love you guys.
Mr. X, this was
I love you guys.
I love you too, Mr. X. You know that. I was a little tough on you today, but this was a good debate, and I wish we had more time with you. I'm up against a hard break, Mr. X. I got to go. I apologize. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Mr. X.
Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're not going to believe what Lindsey Graham said years ago about Joe Biden. We'll be back right after this.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM, 1015 FM, KDWN, every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12:30 p.m.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 1015 FM and 720 AM.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777, or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
When a counselor asked how much my husband drinks, I said, not that much. I don't know why I said that. He always drank too much. But I guess I'm so used to keeping it a secret that I didn't tell the truth, to myself or anyone else. My husband has drinks with friends after work. He has a couple of drinks at home with dinner, and a few more while we watch TV. Pretty soon he's shouting at me and blaming me for all of his problems. I just can't take it anymore. A counselor recommended Al-Anon family groups. She said Al-Anon members have had experiences just like mine, and they would explain how Al-Anon is helping them. I didn't want to go to Al-Anon, but I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn at an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 1015 FM, 720 AM, KDWN Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Trump in the middle. Impeachment advances. I'm Mike Moss. President Trump says he stands with the pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong, but he also stands with the Chinese president who opposes them. Telling Fox News.
We have to stand with Hong Kong, but I'm also standing with President Xi. He's a friend of mine. He's an incredible guy. We have to stand, but I'd like to see them work it out, okay?
Trump says Democrats and witnesses this week lied to paint a picture of him engaged in potential acts worthy of impeachment. Nonetheless, correspondent Linda Kenyon reports the impeachment process is moving ahead.
The Intelligence Committee will work up a report on its investigation, which has included dozens of hours of public testimony and depositions from 17 witnesses. The report then goes to the House Judiciary Committee, which will hold hearings. Those hearings could include testimony from Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff and the Chairman of the House Financial Services, Foreign Affairs, Oversight, and Ways and Means Committees, all of whom have been conducting probes into whether President Trump has committed impeachable acts. The White House also can call witnesses. Next, the Judiciary Committee decides whether to draft articles of impeachment, and if so, the full House will vote. Linda Kenyon, Washington.
The Supreme Court could rule as soon as today on whether the president must turn over personal financial information to Congress in New York State. Meanwhile, a federal judge is expected to rule Monday whether former White House counsel Don McGahn must testify before Congress on matters included in the Mueller report. AAA is predicting 55 million people are expected to take to the roads, rails, and skies Thanksgiving week. A storm affecting the southeast today will ride up the eastern seaboard through the weekend, affect travel all the way through Sunday. Former Fox News anchor Shep Smith is donating $1.5 million to the Committee to Protect Journalists. On Wall Street, the Dow up 89 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the K-Don Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by In-N-Out Burger. A road closure still in effect. Cheyenne Avenue closed westbound at the I-15 at the overpass. Use an alternate like Lake Mead or Cary instead. This is closures for a crash, and the crash is still active. Also an accident with injuries sustained reported Charleston at Rancho, and an injury wreck on Craig Road westbound at the 95. In-N-Out Burger Fresh Fact. In-N-Out hamburger patties use no preservatives, additives, or fillers, just the highest quality beef you can find, because fresh is what it's all about. John Michaels from the K-Don Traffic Center.
For more than a year, the whole of Vermont was captivated by the hunt for a runaway golden retriever. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
From office parties to family get-togethers, if you tend to overdrink, the holidays aren't always the most wonderful time of the year. But quitting completely? Well, that's just not realistic. Sound familiar? Meet LifeBack, a modern science-based approach that allows you to effectively cut back on your alcohol consumption. Using medication that's clinically proven to reduce the urge to overdrink in 92% of people, LifeBack makes drinking a choice rather than a need. Plus, LifeBack is completely private with online doctor consults, medication delivered discreetly to your doorstep, and coaching and support tools through the app. LifeBack comes with a free online doctor consultation and 30-day money-back guarantee, and the program costs less than 1 drink per day. Don't wait for end-of-the-year regrets. Starting the physician-approved LifeBack program now will allow you to drink normally during the holiday season and go into the new year healthier and happier. Visit lifebac.com or call 888-959-8858 today to learn more. That's lifebac.com or call 888-959-8858 today.
What's your reason to do LASIK? No need to put it off any longer this summer. Dr. Kent Wellish at Wellish Vision Institute is here to improve your vision for a better outlook on life.
My reason? I want to wake up and see, and to stop paying for glasses and contacts. LASIK is a permanent solution for a low-maintenance lifestyle.
My reason? I want a board-certified, non-corporate chain, top doc surgeon who I can trust to perform my LASIK.
Whatever your reason, schedule your free one-on-one LASIK consultation at Wellish Vision Institute by the end of the month and receive $1,000 off LASIK. On top of that, we offer 0% financing for 2 full years. Wellish Vision Institute now has 3 convenient locations no matter where you're located. We're close. Call 702-733-2020 or visit wellishvision.com to book your free consultation. Don't wait any longer. Now is the time to get the clear vision you deserve. Certain restrictions apply. Financing with approved credit.
We want to take a moment to thank you, our community, for always supporting our efforts at the Shade Tree Shelter. The Shade Tree offers safe shelter for homeless and abused women and children. We help about 15 families a day, 6,500 families per year, and we can't do that without you. If you want to get involved and volunteer at the Shade Tree, please email us at volunteer@theshadetree.org. And if you want more information, check out our website at theshadetree.org. Thanks again to our wonderful Las Vegas community.
At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we provide more than $150 billion each year in grants, loans, and work-study funds. Learn more at studentaid.gov.
720 on the AM, 1015 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. K-Don. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take on a Friday. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. I'm Shapiro, he's Sharp. By the way, why don't we call it Shapiro and Sharp? Why is it Sharp and Shapiro? I always wanted to ask you that. JD, I'm jealous that your name is first. Why is it Sharp and Shapiro? I feel left out of the equation.
This is a serious conversation.
Well, yeah, I'm curious. You think Sharp and Shapiro sounds better?
Yeah, I do. I think it sounds better.
Oh, okay. So it's the sound of it. Okay.
Yeah,
I feel a little insecure.
It has nothing to do with me being number one and you being number two.
Michael Avenatti asked me that yesterday, actually.
Oh,
he
he
really
did?
did. Yes, he really did.
He said, why is it not Shapiro and Sharp?
Yeah, because I said, I don't know.
Or Shap and Sharp?
Yeah, something like that. I said, I'll ask
don't
JD
know.
on the
I
air
think-
tomorrow. I never asked him that. I never thought about it, actually.
When we initially created this show, we decided it would be the Vegas take with Sharp and Shapiro.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I just promised Michael Avenatti I would ask you the question on the air because I don't know. Shap and Sharp, that kind of sounds good. That sounds better than Shapiro and Sharp. That's too long. It's too long. Shap and Sharp. That's got a nice little ring to it. Anyway, so we've been talking a lot about the impeachment hearings, and we'll continue to obviously cover it. We had a chance to catch up with the Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, this week, and we're going to play a little bit of that interview for you coming up at the bottom of the hour. Mooch has some interesting opinions and theories when it comes to Donald Trump's health and much, much more. We also asked him who he thinks has the best chance to beat Donald Trump, so that'll be coming up here in just a few minutes. But, Lindsey Graham is one of those people that even Republicans would agree is a flip-flopper, right? He says one thing, and then a year later he says something completely the opposite. I think he is an absolute coward, and Lindsey Graham is the poster child for what is wrong with politics today.
People don't have the right to change their mind, Brian?
It's not about changing their mind. That's not what I'm talking about. If you change your mind on a policy or you get a little bit more information and change your opinion on something, that's one thing. But that is completely not what I am talking about here. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So Lindsey Graham is beginning a Senate investigation into the Bidens, and the anti-Biden theory is coming up, and it stems from work from a right-wing columnist. His name is John Solomon, who has used his writing to elevate some extremely questionable sources. I think that's very fair to say. Now, there's no evidence at all. Again, let me repeat this again. There is no evidence that has emerged to support this theory that Republicans are alleging that then Vice President Biden pushed the Ukraine to fire this prosecutor who may or may not have even been investigating Burisma in order to shield Hunter Biden, who served on the board at the time. So while there is absolutely and positively no evidence to back it up, and let me also include this, many officials, including Republicans, thought that this prosecutor in question was ineffective against corruption, that his office needed to be reformed. These are Republicans that thought that. And Joe Biden was one of them. So what is Lindsey Graham doing? Well, as I mentioned, he's beginning the Senate investigation into the Bidens. Doesn't have any problem with Donald Trump. So this is the same Lindsey Graham who did nothing but praise Joe Biden years ago. I want to play you a little bit of this audio. This is Lindsey Graham in his own words talking about God and Joe Biden. This is an interview that has resurfaced not that long ago, just dates back to 2015. Here it is.
He's the nicest person I think I've ever met in politics. He is as good a man as God ever created. I think he's been dealt a really gut blow. I think he focuses on what he's got to do, not what he lost.
Lindsey Graham says Joe Biden is as good a man as God ever created. These are the words of Lindsey Graham in 2015. And now it is Lindsey Graham himself that is beginning a Senate investigation into the Bidens. Do you think this might have anything to do with wearing the Donald Trump knee pads and kissing the ass of Donald Trump, which is what Lindsey Graham and many others in the Senate are known to do? The Nunez's of the world, the Jim Jordans of the world, they are all speaking to one audience and one audience only, and that is Donald Trump. How could anybody respect anything that comes out of this guy's mouth, Lindsey Graham? Anything. JD, that is why I say you can't trust him and anything that he says because he's a flip-flopper. So what do you say to that?
About Lindsey Graham being a flip-flopper?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really indifferent to it.
What do you mean you're indifferent?
I mean, I'm very indifferent to it.
So you have no opinion on it at all?
Because he changed his mind.
Well, it's not that he changed his mind. Maybe he still thinks he's a man of God. I don't know. I haven't asked him that question. Called him a man of God. He's praised him. You heard the audio. I just want to know what are your thoughts on that?
He has his reasons to not believe the things that he believed in 2015. 4 years later.
I'm asking you. I don't know.
I have no issue with him having different reasons, with him changing his mind. I don't have a problem with someone changing their mind over 4 years. Things happen. People change their minds. I'm not going to call him a quote-unquote flip-flopper for that.
I mean, he is a flip-flopper.
Well, because he changed his mind over the course of 4 years. And again,
Okay. So you're okay.
In your opinion, that's fine. But in my opinion, that's, again, people change their minds for whatever reason all the time.
So you don't think it's flip-flopping when you say Joe Biden is as good a man as God ever created, and then 4 years later wants to open up an investigation into the Bidens?
Maybe he found out, new information about Joe Biden that he didn't know when he made that statement. Maybe new things had been unearthed that he wasn't aware of, and it's changed his perception of Joe Biden. And he feels now that an investigation should be opened. Again, this is 4 years, Brian, and a lot can happen in 4 years. So no, I don't think that he's a quote-unquote flip-flopper. I believe that I'm assuming, and this is an assumption, I'm assuming that he has new information on Joe Biden that when he made those statements, he did not have.
There is zero information that has come out. Not one Republican has spoken about it, and there is zero evidence to substantiate this claim that this right-wing theory claim.
Okay, so for him calling him a man of God and calling one of the best people ever in 2015, does that make Joe Biden immune from being investigated in 2019, 4 years later?
Didn't say that.
No,
but it should make. I'll answer your question.
And if he changes his mind and he decides that maybe this guy should be investigated, maybe I was wrong about him.
Okay, but
that he's a flip flopper.
Again, you're making an assumption,
and he shouldn't be respected. No, that's what you're saying, and I just personally do not agree with that.
Here's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Just because you think someone is a man of God and as good a man as God ever created, no, that doesn't mean that they can't commit harm. But that's not what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. When you call somebody one of the best men that God has ever created, and then 4 years later you decide to open up a Senate investigation into this man, indulging in unsubstantiated claims. Now, that is very important to note, because to this date, there is not one Republican that has come out with any substantial information or evidence in regards to this right-wing theory. Not one. Now, if you're going to open up a Senate investigation, you better have some evidence to support your claim. There's no evidence to support that. And as I mentioned earlier, there are many Republicans that wanted this prosecutor fired.
You don't think that Joe Biden's son getting paid 60 to 70 grand a year by an oil company when he has no experience in a different country?
That's not what we're talking about.
Enough? Well, how is that enough? Not enough evidence to look into something.
That's not what we're talking about.
How is that not factual?
That is
so then
that's not what we're talking about.
Well, then I'm asking you, what is the investigation based on?
I just told you. I just said it. I just said it when I started the segment. That this is about wanting Joe Biden to fire the prosecutor in this case. And what I told you was that there are many Republicans that also wanted him fired
and why would he
for not being able to do his job effectively when it comes to corruption.
Why would Joe Biden want him fired?
It is stated that he stated this himself.
But we have no idea.
I'm giving you the answer.
I know, but we have no idea if Burisma was attached to that at all. We don't know.
So if you don't know, then why would you open up an investigation when it's already been investigated?
Because an investigation
it was already investigated.
Very, very mild investigation. It wasn't a thorough investigation.
You don't know if it wasn't thorough or not. Maybe can it be possible that there was no evidence?
You said it was basically an open and closed case.
Because there was no evidence to support the theories. That's why.
How is the fact that Hunter Biden, who has zero experience or at all in oil, getting paid 50 to 70 grand a year by
I just answered that. It doesn't mean there was criminal wrongdoing.
Okay, but we don't know that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden weren't working together and taking money off the top. We have no idea. That's why an investigation should have taken place, a thorough one, and it wasn't thorough enough.
The comments that you just made,
that way.
the comments that you just made, this isn't about feeling a certain way. You just made my point for me. We don't know. Lindsey Graham doesn't know.
Well, no, you're getting
Here's
mad
what we do know.
You're getting mad at Lindsey Graham, or
here's what we do know.
You're admonishing Lindsey Graham for changing his mind, for feeling a different way 4 years later.
With no evidence. With no evidence.
It is about feeling some way.
With no evidence.
Clearly.
Okay. Well, you just made my point.
And I'm saying that to me there is evidence. In my personal opinion, there is evidence.
What evidence? What evidence? Please explain.
For the fourth time, Hunter Biden being employed by Burisma, getting paid 50 to 70, getting paid 50 to 70 grand a year.
Not against the law.
Being an American citizen, being employed in the Ukraine.
Not against the law. Nothing wrong with that.
While his father is the vice president of the United States, why would they do that?
Ivanka Trump is employed in China, many businesses abroad. Not against the law.
Ivanka Trump owns her own businesses
not against
in China.
The law. Nothing.
Burisma was a major corporation with government ties.
So that's your evidence because he worked in another country. That's your evidence of wrongdoing?
Ivanka Trump. I'm asking why they would hire him.
Why they would hire him? I gave you the answer to that.
Why would they hire him?
I think any logical person would come to the conclusion, and we've been over this, and it doesn't mean it's breaking the law. The fact that his father was the vice president certainly had something to do with it.
Right.
But guess what? That does not mean you broke the law. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And let me finish by saying
But
this.
it doesn't mean that things weren't taking place behind the scenes, or Joe Biden was giving Hunter Biden information privately.
What
as
is
Vice
against
President
the
of the United States.
law?
Because again,
There's no evidence to support that any law was broken.
But I'm saying logistically, what is the value to a Ukrainian oil company of Hunter Biden?
It is called connections,
Yeah,
knowing people.
Exactly. His dad's a VP. So
But that is not what this-
his dad can help the company get things done.
That is not what this is even about,
And why would he do that? He wouldn't just do that to do that. He would do that if he was compensated or something went his way in order to make that happen. And that's what Donald Trump wanted to look into. And that's what Lindsey Graham clearly, after 4 years, wanted to look into.
You're not understanding what this is about.
And also,
what Lindsey Graham is doing here. So can I explain it again? Because I'm not sure you understand what this is about.
I totally comprehend what he's trying to do here, Brian.
Well, Lindsey Graham is opening up this investigation
Right.
when there's no evidence to support any wrongdoing. But he's opening up anyway because he wants to coddle and wear the Donald Trump knee pads. Okay, and if anybody is going to have Trump fellatio syndrome, it's Lindsey Graham.
That was your point, was coddling Donald Trump and wearing the Donald Trump knee pads?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what Lindsey Graham was doing. That's exactly what he's doing.
Or because he feels differently about Joe Biden.
Don't you understand?
Due to new information.
If you feel differently, that is not reason to open up an investigation. There has to be evidence. And what I'm telling you right now is fact.
Right.
Not one Republican on the Senate, not one Republican has come up with any meaningful, logical information to suggest that the Bidens broke the law.
Well, then if there is no evidence whatsoever, then investigation will not take place and nothing will happen. We have nothing to worry about in the first place. So what are we talking about?
Okay, so let me bring up something to you.
Right, so what's going to take place here?
Hold on. What you just said. Hold on. Let me respond to what you just said.
Since there's zero evidence whatsoever,
let me respond to what you just said.
An investigation will clearly not take place.
Let me respond to what you just said.
And Lindsey Graham trying to open up this investigation, the investigation will not happen.
Let me respond to what you just said. You just said if there's no information, then there won't be an investigation. Let me give up a name to you.
I'm saying no evidence.
Can I respond? Benghazi. There were 9 investigations led by the Republicans. There was never any information that was actually credible that spoke upon Hillary Clinton or anybody in the Obama administration. Hold on, let me finish.
Is hearsay credible?
Let me finish. Hillary Clinton or anybody in the Obama administration that broke the law. Now, the Republicans did investigation after investigation after investigation. As I mentioned, there were 9 investigations. They did not find anything. It cost taxpayers a lot of money. So please don't say that Republicans don't, have to have credible information in order to open up an investigation. Benghazi is a perfect example of that not being true.
Hearsay credible information?
Hearsay?
Hearsay.
When you open up a Senate investigation,
yes, is hearsay.
No, there has to be proof.
Okay, so then what are we talking about with this with the impeachment inquiry then? Because
it's not hearsay.
It is 100% hearsay.
So you believe
it is 100% hearsay.
Okay, so let me
if
prove you.
If hearsay is not credible, then you just destroyed your entire
so let me ask you a question
on the impeachment inquiry.
Okay, but I've been following the testimony. I don't know if you have or not. So let me just correct you on something. When Sondland got up there on that stand, and he had firsthand knowledge. Speaking with Donald Trump,
he said no quid pro quo.
Rudy Giuliani, he said that there was a quid pro quo when he spoke to Donald Trump's personal attorney. That is not hearsay. That is the president's personal attorney. And by the way, I don't know if you saw the testimony. Hold on, let me finish.
He said Donald Trump never asked him to do anything.
And the testimony
there was
yesterday,
no communication whatsoever where he thought that foreign aid was involved.
The general that was up there on the stand yesterday testified that he overheard in a phone conversation between Sondland and Donald Trump a quid pro quo. Okay, that's not hearsay. Sondland testified, a Trump supporter who donated $1 million to the Trump campaign. Okay,
what's his net worth,
Sondland
Brian?
had firsthand knowledge.
What's his net worth?
What does that have to do with this conversation?
Because is it 4 million? Is it 20 million? Is it 50 million?
What does that have to do? He's a Trump supporter. That's all. What does it matter how much money he has?
Or he wanted a big fat tax write-off, and that's why he donated $1 million, Brian.
He is a Trump supporter. That is what I'm trying to tell you, and he doesn't have a reason to lie. And you use the term. Hold on, let me finish. You use the term hearsay. That is laughable.
So because he donated $1 million 3 years ago, again, he can't change his mind either. Right?
What do you mean he can't? What are you talking about?
He definitely wanted Donald Trump to be president 3 years ago. He also wanted a big fat tax return.
So now you're saying he doesn't want Donald Trump.
Or he wanted a big fat tax write-off.
So now you're saying he's changed his mind and he's not a Trump supporter? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
is that your statement?
Clearly, Michael Cohen, Paul Manafort, if those two situations didn't take place and those guys weren't literally rotting behind bars right now, I don't think this testimony would be taking place with Sondland.
Maybe Sondland just decided to tell the truth. Is that possible?
I have no idea if that's possible or not. But what I'm saying is it doesn't make a difference that he donated $1 million 3 years ago to Trump. And to you, that's this big supporting, oh, well, even Sondland's going to turn him because he donated $1 million. Rich people donate money all the time, Brian, because there's a major tax write-off involved.
I think most people would agree that for somebody that donated $1 million to the Donald Trump campaign, most would say they would not go out of their way and lie and try to get that person in trouble. I think that is a pretty logical take and opinion. That is the only take I'm trying to make on the issue.
You're using it to validate what he's saying when, again, it's all hearsay.
So, no, it's not hearsay.
Sondland never said that Donald Trump told him to do anything.
The guy is the ambassador. What do you mean this is hearsay? He had conversations with Rudy Giuliani calling it a quid pro quo. How can you call that hearsay? This isn't somebody just whispering to somebody, hey, you know, I heard blah, 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 blah. This is the president's personal attorney. How could you say that's hearsay? Have you seen the testimony of all the other witnesses, Vindman included, that were listening to the actual phone call? That's not hearsay.
You brought up Benghazi. Break that down for me, Brian. What exactly happened with Benghazi?
I'll tell you what happened with Benghazi, and I'll explain it again. There were 9 investigations.
No, but I'm talking the actual Benghazi, the situation.
You want to go into that now?
You brought it up.
The reason why I brought it up was this. You said that if it's just hearsay with Lindsay Graham and there's nothing there, then there won't be an investigation. You're wrong. There were 9 investigations into Benghazi led by the Republicans that found nothing.
And there was nothing there at all.
There was no wrongdoing. They found no wrongdoing. Nobody was guilty of a crime. That's why there were 9 investigations. They did everything they could to lock up Hillary Clinton, and it didn't work. Same thing with the email server. It didn't work.
Brian, 30,000 emails were deleted for a reason. Not just
she
deleted.
Was not convicted of a crime.
Not just deleted. I mean completely
So now
destroyed.
So now we're going to go there. You mentioned Benghazi. We're over Benghazi. Now you're going to talk about
actually, you mentioned Benghazi, Brian.
Yes, of course.
And I'm mentioning that if hearsay has no validity whatsoever, then how is this impeachment inquiry even going on right now?
Because you have testimony from firsthand knowledge. Do you understand what firsthand knowledge is? This is not hearsay. This is firsthand knowledge. Did you hear Sondland's testimony? This is the ambassador. This isn't just hearsay. There are people that have taken the stand, including Sondland and Vindman. And we heard the testimony yesterday. This is not, you understand what firsthand knowledge is. I don't know how else to break it doon for you.
I do understand firsthand knowledge.
This is the personal attorney to the president of the United States, Rudy Giuliani, who Sondland said gave him a quid pro quo. That's not hearsay.
And what exactly was the quid pro quo, Brian?
I think it's pretty simple. Withhold aid. Withhold aid and make sure. Hold on, I'm answering your question. Can I answer your question?
Sondland said verbatim that Rudy Giuliani told him to withhold aid if the investigation into the Bidens did not occur.
I'm amazed that you don't know this because we've been talking about it all week. Exactly what took place is this. Giuliani told him, hold the aid until, hold on, let me finish my sentence.
It's not that I don't know it, Brian.
Okay, let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
Withhold aid until we get the president of the Ukraine to hold a press conference and say that they are opening up and investigating the Bidens. That is the testimony of this man. That is what he said.
Withhold aid.
Hold on to the aid until
we announce.
Yes, that is a quid pro quo.
To make Joe Biden look bad.
No, I didn't say that. Listen to my words. Until we hold a press conference saying that we are going to reopen an investigation into the Bidens. That is a quid pro quo.
To make Joe Biden look bad.
I didn't say that. You said that.
Why else would they want to do that, Brian?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious to me. Digging up dirt on a political opponent. It's pretty obvious to me. Now, that is not hearsay.
A potential political opponent, not a guaranteed political
You're right.
opponent.
Joe Biden's not a political rival. You're right.
And again,
you're right.
we don't know for a fact if that $1 billion was going to go to the correct things. We don't know if it was going to be misappropriated.
Completely separate conversation.
We don't know if it's going to go to, no, of
completely separate conversation.
If I was the president of the United States, and I was going to give $1 billion in military aid, I would want to make damn
sure. Then why would you bring up the Bidens?
That I knew that it was going to the right place.
Then why didn't you do that? And why did you bring up the Bidens?
He's making sure that the government isn't corrupt.
Oh, okay. So he's bringing up the Bidens.
And that corruption hasn't occurred for the last.
And it just so happens that he brings up Joe Biden.
5 to 10 years.
So all of a sudden he cares about corruption. I got you.
Well, of course.
Well, guess what? It was Sondland, the ambassador, who said this. And listen to this very carefully. It was Sondland that says, Donald Trump doesn't care about the Ukraine. All he cares about is the Bidens. That is what Sondland said. That's the ambassador. That's in his own words.
And since Sondland donated $1 million 3 years ago, that makes everything he says gospel.
So you think he's lying?
I'm telling you.
Why would he lie? What's his incentive to lie?
You keep mentioning the $1 million and how it's so relevant.
Sure,
and
I think it is.
And I'm saying, because he donated $1 million 3 years ago, and you don't know what his net worth is.
This is an appointee by the Trump administration.
You don't know if he's part of if he's a consistent philanthropist. You don't know if he donates money all the time, or if he enjoys the
completely
spoils of tax
academic.
write-offs. You know nothing about it.
So you think
you just think that because he donated $1 million to Trump 3 years ago, that makes it everything he says 100% solid and valid. And that
we got to take a break.
And then if this guy will turn on Donald Trump, then it must be true.
Well, we got to take a break. We're up against a hard break. When we come back, Anthony Scaramucci is going to be joining us, and we're going to ask him, what do you think about Donald Trump's health? Why did he go to the hospital over the weekend? You're going to be surprised to hear what he says coming up. The Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by South Point Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk.
Are you taking Cialis or Viagra? Marley Drug has generics of both for just $12 per tablet. That's a savings of $60 per dose. Marley Drug is an independent pharmacy delivering generic Cialis and Viagra to your door for $12 per tablet. Call Marley Drug at 800-870-4787. That's 800-870-4787. Again, 800-870-4787.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. We are saying farewell to Tuesdays at 9 a.m. and moving to Saturdays at 11 a.m. Please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
I'm Tony Elliott with the Nevada Department of Transportation. If you're looking for up-to-date road and construction information, be sure to visit our website, nevadadot.com.
A Home for Spot is a nonprofit group of dog lovers whose mission is to rescue, provide sanctuary, and ultimately to rehome abandoned, stray, and neglected dogs. To donate, foster, or adopt, go online to spot.com.
Would you risk crossing a street busy with traffic, against the light,
Watch where you're going.
wearing a blindfold? Probably not. Other risks aren't as obvious, but could be just as deadly, like the risk for type 2 diabetes. Take the free diabetes risk test to learn if you're at risk. Go to diabetes.org/take-the-test or call 1-800-DIABETES and stop diabetes before it stops you. A message from the American Diabetes Association.
Millions retire online so they can do what they want offline. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
President Trump says despite a string of impeachment hearings, it's been a great week.
I think we had a tremendous week with the hoax, you know, the great hoax. They call it the impeachment hoax. And that's really worked out incredibly well, and we have tremendous support.
The Supreme Court will take up the Trump administration's bid to end a lawsuit filed by a Muslim man who says he was placed on the government's no-fly list because he refused to serve as an FBI informant. Others have joined that lawsuit as well. A former FBI lawyer is being investigated for allegedly altering a document related to the surveillance of Trump campaign advisor Carter Page in 2016. The finding will be in a report Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz is expected to release on December 9th. That report will examine the origins of the Russia investigation. On Wall Street, stocks are up, the Dow up about 90 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by In-N-Out Burger. A road closure still in effect. Cheyenne Avenue closed westbound at the I-15 at the overpass. use an alternate like Lake Mead or Cary instead. This is closures for a crash, and the crash is still active. Also, an accident with injuries sustained reported Charleston at Rancho, and an injury wreck on Craig Road westbound at the 95. In-N-Out Burger Fresh Fact. In-N-Out hamburger patties use no preservatives, additives, or fillers, just the highest quality beef you can find, because fresh is what it's all about. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
November is the single biggest month of the year for mattress sales, hands down. Why? I don't know about other places, but I know why that's true here. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress, and it's probably because our huge Black Friday sale, our biggest sale of the year, where right now you can save up to $600 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets. Get a $300 gift with purchase, 72 months no interest financing, and free delivery. Best Mattress. Sleep easy, friends. See store for details.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. We'll also have a dolphin chatter excitedly in front of the perfect candidate. Okay, there's no dolphin. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Does your child love math? Do they just love math so much that once they finish their homework, they want to work on extra math problems just for fun? Anyone? If you answered no, then you are not alone. While your child may not think math is important for their future, we know better. That's because Infinity the Math Institute offers the best math tutors in Las Vegas, produces the best results at the best prices for kids of all ages. Infinity the Math Institute does it all. Does your child need prep for the SATs? Right now, SAT preparation classes in November are just $15. Fractions, algebra, geometry, decimals, you name it. Plus, Infinity offers homeschool programs, free seminars for parents and students. And whether your child is transitioning from elementary school to middle school to high school, or preparing for college, Infinity can help. Classes are filling up. Call us now to find out more. 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. You want the best results for your child? One call to Infinity can have a huge impact on your child's future. Call now. 768-1777. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
He's the nicest person I think I've ever met in politics. He is as good a man as God ever created.
Well, Lindsay Graham must be talking about me. He's right. You know, I'm one of the nicest people God ever created. Just ask any female that I've dated in my life. That's exactly what they will tell you. Welcome back to the show. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So if you missed our interview, it's been getting a lot of hits. Certainly our most popular interview of the week, maybe even of the month. I think we had like 2,000 listens. So this is the Mooch himself, Anthony Scaramucci, who was the White House press secretary for 10 days. So I asked him, I said, what was it like to, and by the way, let me just also acknowledge the fact that we had Michael Avenatti in studio yesterday, so you'll hear him in this interview as well. I asked the Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, what was it like only lasting 10 days as the White House press secretary?
I'm doing great, but let's do a fact. It was actually 11 days. Okay, so let's go over this, guys. Okay, if you fired on the 31st and you're hired on the 21st, but you worked every day, you got to count the days. It's actually a lot of days.
So, Mooch, we had a bet, me and Michael Avenatti in studio, that you would say that. He said you would say that. I said I didn't think you would, so I lost the bet, Anthony. You just cost me dinner.
No, 100%. Of course I got to say it. It's a constant fact-checking debacle for me.
Fair enough.
Should be at a 9.1% of the career.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Mooch.
By the way, when you're working for Trump, it's like dog years. So I almost lasted like a full Trump administration cabinet official.
No, that extra day was like 7 years, Mooch. That extra day was like 7 years, Mooch.
Okay. That last day was particularly brutal. That was the day I got fired, but it's all good. I mean, look, thank God I got fired in hindsight. I mean, what a debacle.
Well, speaking of getting fired, you were the one responsible for Reince Priebus getting fired. Is that fair to say?
Well, I would certainly like to think I contributed to that. I mean, I think that probably one of the worst people I've ever come in contact with in the 55 years that I've been on the planet.
Wow.
And it was a very, very destructive guy. It's very different from Donald Trump, actually. I mean, at least President Trump is like fully frontally in your face, letting you know that he's a complete fraud. You know, he's at the microphones in front of the helicopter saying, China, please investigate the Bidens. You know, I mean, that's
right.
There's a weird part of that I almost admire. You know, in Priebus's case, it was all howdy doody, ha ha ha, and then he was backstabbing you. I want to ask Michael this question. I want you to imagine Trump and Bannon in the White House together during the fiasco that's going on right now, Michael. Could you imagine that?
Oh, I can't imagine that. I mean, those two together, I don't even know what that might look like, Mooch. But, let me say this to Brian and JD and the
I
list.
think that's my contribution. I think that's my contribution to American history. That I was able to, when my suicide vest was going off and it blew up, it damaged Bannon so heavily that he left the White House 2 weeks later. So to me, I've made a small contribution thus far, but that's the main one.
There you go. But, I do want to say this to the listeners and to JD and Brian. Look, Trump has made a lot of mistakes over the years, over the course of his presidency, over the 3 years. A lot of mistakes, a lot of bad personnel decisions. But I'm going to tell you one of the biggest mistakes that he's made, and probably the worst personnel decision, was getting rid of Anthony Scaramucci. Because you can say what you want about the Mooch. I'm a fan of the Mooch. I'm a friend of the Mooch. I love the Mooch. But here's the truth. The guy is very effective. Mooch, you are incredibly effective at communication. People like you. The press likes Anthony behind the scenes. They really like him because, he's a character. And he's a very intelligent, well-spoken guy. And let me tell you something. Thankfully for the rest of the country, Trump got rid of him, because had Trump kept him around, Trump would be in a much stronger, safer place right now.
I do not disagree with that. I've said that on this show before. Okay, Mooch, here's a question I've always wanted to ask you.
I'm very flattered, you guys. He would have never kept a guy like me around, though. I mean, you just look at the 81 people that went into the wood chipper after me. There's no way he would have kept me around, because he doesn't, at the end of the day, there's a level of insecurity there and low self-esteem. He doesn't like having people around him that are accomplished and can, look at him straight in the eye and tell him, hey, don't do that. Just remember that the news cycle is moving so fast, but remember the letter that he sent to Erdogan. It was like somebody wrote it with a red Crayola crayon and then handed it to Steno, There's no way John Kelly or somebody like me would have allowed that letter to leave the White House premises.
Mooch, can you take me back to that last conversation? I don't know if it was a volatile conversation that you had with Donald Trump before you left the White House. Can you take me back to that last conversation? Take us through that.
No, my last conversation was quite positive. It was on Saturday morning. He told me that I was a lucky guy, that the news cycle had already moved on to the firing and sacking of Reince Priebus, and that even though I did take the reporter, he was okay with it, and that he would see me in the office at 8 a.m. on Monday. And so I was somewhat relieved.
Wow.
The thing with President Trump is he doesn't fire you. He doesn't like confrontation, and so he had John Kelly fire me. And so then the question is, what changed between Saturday morning when I had that conversation with him, Monday morning when I was fired? And frankly, I think it was a combination of things, but I've gotten close to John Kelly now, and I think it was, a combination. It was like President Trump and Chief of Staff Kelly saying, hey, let's clean house, and we'll set we'll send Anthony out of here as a message to people that we're cleaning house. And so
Gotcha.
it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. And by the way, my relationship with John Kelly started out sorely because of it, but we've now grown into personal friends. And as Michael knows, I invited him to my conference out in Vegas last May. He spoke at the Bellagio, where I interviewed him for an hour. I opened up the interview by saying, "Hey, General, the last conversation we had lasted 3 minutes. It didn't go well for me. Are we going to be okay up here, or what?"
I'm glad you were able to work that out. Here's another question.
Well, 3 minutes. That's as long as the relationship that Trump had with Stormy.
Yeah, that's
3 minutes.
the Trump Stormy. Yeah,
that's the rumor.
Trump Stormy situation. So, Mooch, obviously, I agree with everything Avenatti said. You're a smart guy. You're an accomplished guy. Why did it take you this long? You've known Donald Trump for decades. You've known him for a long time. You had to have known privately that this guy was a fraud. Why did you never speak up about it publicly until recently?
Well, I wrote about it in the Washington Post. I would take you guys back to the August 19th editorial where, I equivocated. I did something that I should not have done. I've apologized to people for it, but it was a little bit of a cognitive dissonance, moral equivocation. And so what ends up happening is you're a Republican. No offense to Secretary Clinton. I'd never had anything personal against her. I was just trying to promote at that time Republican policies. And so it was a choice. It's a hiring decision. You only have two people to choose from. And so I did it a moral equivocation. My liberal friends said, well, he hasn't really changed. 2015, Donald Trump is more or less the same as 2019. I think he's in mental decline. That's roughly right. But I did the moral equivocation. I did these policies are going to be great. He'll rise to the level of the presidency. And then what you do is you stop your brain from thinking about the things that he's doing that are inappropriate. And by the way, just look at the congressional members of the Republican caucus. That's exactly what they're doing. They're still doing it. I couldn't do it. As Michael knows, and we had many conversations about this, I broke from him on child separation. I broke from him on the denunciation of the intelligence officers and agencies in front of Vladimir Putin. I wrote an op-ed last year, or April of 2019, this past year, on the press not being the enemy of the people. And then when he went after the congresswomen, I said, okay, that's full-blown racism. Sorry, can't handle that. And then once he started attacking me and then started attacking my wife, I said, okay, he's obviously got a screw loose. He's in a full-blown meltdown. And then in August, I said, look, I can't support this anymore. This is Trump Noble. This is like watching the first two episodes of the HBO series Chernobyl.
So for you, Mooch, it was personal.
Melting at the core.
When he got personal with you, you're saying that was the final straw.
Well, I would say the final straw was probably the attack on the congresswomen, but that would have caused me. Remember, I worked for him. I worked for him on the campaign. I was on the executive committee of the transition. When I was fired, I literally spent 2 years trying to defend him. So I would have probably just gone dark. I would have probably said, okay, can't really advocate on his behalf anymore. Let me go dark. But when he attacked me, that's one thing. But when he viciously attacked my wife, who is a suburban housewife living out on Long Island, raising 2 kids.
And a great lady, by the way. A great lady.
Yeah, but Michael knows this. You may know this. I was in the throes of a potential divorce she had filed on me. We love each other. We were trying to patch it up. It's 2 years since then. We're doing well. President Trump knew that we were in trouble in our marriage while I was working for him. But just think of the boundaryless nature of this person. He's attacking her on the presidential Twitter feed. And so, I tell people he may not have early stage dementia. I'm not a neurologist, but that's early stage fascism, full-blown fascism. You're going after an individual and a private citizen. The reason why what he did with Joe Biden is so impeachable and so egregious is that the founders set it up in a way where if you have political power, you're not supposed to be able to use that political power against a human being that happens to be a fellow citizen of the country. And so when you think about it, the founders set that thing up known as Washington as a place of service, not a place of rule. And so those people are supposed to be serving the American people. And President Trump has a different view of that. So to me, I'm not, I'm a pretty straight up guy. I was going to probably just say, okay, he's not for me. I'm going to disavow my support and go dark. But then once he attacked my family members, game on. I mean, I'm not going to tolerate that, nor should anybody. And guys, come on, do I look like Ted Cruz to you?
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Come on, give me a break. So I'm not a politician. I'm not going to equivocate to that man. And also, now that we have the American system under threat, where there's actually a party now that's decided that they know the guy's unequivocally guilty, but they don't care. And so they're going to lie about it in an effort to keep themselves and him in office. I mean, it's an absolutely disgusting thing. It's a direct threat to our democracy. It's a direct threat to the republic. And if we don't have brave men and women like the ones you're seeing testifying today go after him, what do we have? It's a fragile thing, guys.
So let me jump in, Mooch. Let me say one thing, and then I'm going to ask a question. First of all, to my Democratic friends that want to make Anthony wrong and want to talk about how long he supported the president, what took you so long, et cetera, you're making a grave mistake. If the Democrats want to actually regain footing, if they want to take control of the White House, if they want to get back to a place where this country can no longer be so divided and we can be unified and move forward, if they want to save the republic, you've got to welcome people like Anthony Scaramucci back into the fold with open arms. You can't make them wrong for their past support of Donald Trump. It's no different. I've used this analogy in the past. It's no different than, one day you're in love with a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a wife or a husband, and then someday, whether it's a year or 2 or 3 or 10 or 15 years later, sometimes you wake up and you don't want to be with the person anymore. You've run your course. You can't believe that you made the decision to be with them to begin with. So we can't make people like Anthony wrong. We got to welcome them back with open arms, especially when they're willing to put themselves out there like Anthony is right now and really be vocal about how important it is that Trump be removed from office. So that's number one. And then second, I want to pose a question to you, Mooch. I mean, how do you think this ends? And if you think it ends with Trump resigning or impeached, when do you think that happens?
So I said in August that he will not make it to the nomination and he will not run again. And I think that's still the most likely outcome. So sometime between now and March, which is the LBJ time period, March 1968, LBJ said not running for re-election. I think that's what's going to happen. And I think that's the reason why Nikki Haley's out there in a full-blown obsequious tour, because she sees herself as a vice president. So that would either be vice president for him if he somehow miraculously survives this, or vice president for Mike Pence if he doesn't. So, listen, I'm a money manager. I get a lot of things wrong. I get paid, frankly, to do well when I am wrong. And so I might be wrong about this, but here are the scenarios. Pretty sure he leaves office on January 20th, 2021. A disgraced man, and he'll say otherwise. He'll say that he made America great, and then it'll be a toss-up as to who wins the election, depending upon who the Democrats put up. Or he somehow miraculously survives this. He'll probably jettison Mike Pence, a ruthless guy, even though Mike's been super loyal to him. He won't care. Puts Haley on the ticket, and listen, you guys may feel differently, but if they put up somebody like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, I think it's a 40-state landslide for Trump. And so I've said that consistently.
Totally agree.
Country's not ready for socialism. And then you've got a 5-year debacle where he's literally using the White House and using the government as a piggy bank. And, look, at what we know from the president, this is a personal transaction business for him. God only knows how much money he's made from our adversaries doing their bidding around the world. And so hopefully all that stuff comes out. One of the funner things or more disgusting things to think about, he's going to get impeached, may end up staying in office. If he wins again, he'll be impeached in the second term as well because he's so lawless. So he could be the first president in history to impeach twice.
Hey, Mooch, let me ask you a question.
The more likely scenario, though, is he leaves. Also, I think he's not well.
No, I don't think he's
that
well
hospital visit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I don't think he's well either.
No, I think that hospital visit and just him coming down those lower stairs at Air Force One in Texas yesterday with his doctor with him, I think is a sign that he's not doing too well. It's either neurological or could be cardiac related. But if you look at his right leg is sweeping now. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to start making up things, but it looks like he's had a stroke. It's possible mini stroke, having a hard time finding his words, things like that. So there'll be a reason that he doesn't run again, is my opinion.
So, Mooch, let me ask you this. Who do you think the Democrats should nominate in order to win back the White House, and why?
Well, they have a weak field. I think one of the reasons why, Michael, the Democrats don't like me is I'm not one. I've been a Republican my whole life. But I would say this, that the more moderate of the group is probably Buttigieg. If you could take Buttigieg's brain and put it in Joe Biden's body, you'd have a killer candidate. Unfortunately, if you watch Vice President Biden's performance last night, it would be hard to see him even if they nominate him because he fits the slot of calmness and stewardship and things like that, and he's moderate, it'd be hard to see him going the distance. So it would have to be somebody like Mayor Pete, or it would have to be somebody in that category that's a little bit younger than Vice President Biden. I still think that Andrew Yang, I don't know if you're allowed to say this on the air, so forgive me, but I think there's prejudice against him because he's Asian, frankly. And so if you listen to Andrew Yang and you listen to his presentation and what he's saying, what he's doing, he should be at the top of the polls. He's moderate. He gets the new economy. He inspires young people. He's somebody that if you put him up against Trump, I think he could manhandle Trump.
Yeah, but Mooch,
so me looking at it, I think those are the guys I think would have the best, in terms of just their way they swing verbally.
Yeah, well, Mooch, look, Andrew Yang, I agree with a number of the things that you said, but he's got no shot of beating Donald Trump, especially in the key states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, et cetera. I think Mayor Pete.
I agree with that. I'm just pointing out that he's got the verbal dexterity that somebody like Joe Biden doesn't have.
Well, that may be true, but let me ask you.
Put it back to you. Do you think Biden can beat Trump?
I think of the candidates right now, I think Biden has the best shot of beating Donald Trump. Now, do I wish that Biden was 20 years younger? Absolutely. Do I wish that he did not commit as many gaffes that he does? Absolutely. He's not a perfect candidate, but the Democrats have to be careful and not allow perfection to become the enemy of the good. And I think that, I spent a lot of time when I was thinking about running, against your advice, I might add, last year, in Michigan and Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, a lot of these swing states, because my attitude was, if I can't figure out a way to win here, I'm not going to potentially run, because that's the ball game. And when you talk to those voters, they identify with Joe Biden. They see Joe Biden differently than they see in Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or some of these other candidates. Yep. Let me ask you this question, Mitch. Do you think that Mayor Pete can win in those key states, as a gay man? Let's have a really candid discussion about it. Do you think he can carry those states and win statewide in places like Ohio, Wisconsin?
I may be naive to this. I don't think he can carry the evangelical vote, but they wouldn't be voting for him anyway.
Right.
I think that's less of an issue for him than sexual preference. I think the issue for him is his age. I think the issue is his experience. But let me tell you something. I met him at the Texas Tribune Festival. You guys all know
he's very impressive. He's very impressive, very intelligent. He's the most intelligent guy in the field. Absolutely.
Scholar.
No, absolutely. Look, I've spent the time. I broke bread with him as well. I love the guy. I just don't know if
20 years. I don't think this is his time, and I also think he's having a good run right now. But I think that those states that we're talking about, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, they rotate back to a more traditional Democrat. So it's sort of Warren, and I hope it's Biden, because if it's Senator Warren, the country's not ready for that sort of nonsense. Also, that nonsense doesn't work. And, again, we can all rail on President Trump, but one of the things that we learned is if you could have Barack Obama's temperament and a deregulatory strategy for the government, you can unleash a lot of growth. And by the way, I think, if you were rotisserie baseball-like in your politician, you would pick Barack Obama's temperament, some of his swag and style. You would pick Trump's deregulation initiative, but you would pick Obama's deficit cutting ideas. he had the deficit going in the right direction and under control post-crisis. And what we've done in the Trump administration is that we've added $2.25 trillion of debt with no meaningful growth. Guys, we got 2 quarters of growth. Paul Krugman, not a guy I agree with a lot, but got this right. He said this would be a sugar rush for 1 or 2 quarters, and then we would revert back to 1.9 to 2.1% growth without anything more than more deficits to pay back. So look, we're in a mess, and we're in a crossfire of people that are not really thinking about this in a way that they need to, which is long-term for the American people. And again, what I love about your show and what I love about the way you guys think, we have to position the country, again, towards service, long-term thinking, and less about what is right or left about policy, but more about what's right or wrong about policy. So I'm still waiting for that transformational candidate, that post-partisan candidate. But listen, you got to defeat Trump, because if you don't take him out, he, in 5 more years, could do almost irreparable damage to the system. As hard as that is to believe, it's like we hired a demagogue. We hired Huey Long, Charles Lindbergh.
Yep.
It's as if Roy Cohn had a baby with Joe McCarthy. The baby was Donald Trump, and now he's running the
I like that. Mooch, unfortunately, we got to go, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And I got to tell you something, man. When you come to Las Vegas, we would absolutely love you to be in studio with Michael if we can make that happen down the road.
That would be great. Yeah, I'm going to be in town in March, and obviously, again,
let's do it.
Our conference in May. Maybe you guys can broadcast from our conference.
That'd be awesome. Love to do that, Mooch.
Great to be on with you guys.
Can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. There you go.
Thanks a lot, Anthony. My friend.
That is the Mooch himself, Anthony Scaramucci.
So there's this guy named Jordan, and he's a healthy guy. He's a dad of 6, and he works as a guide in Alaska. But then he goes to the doctor, and he's diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And here's the thing. He had switched from medical insurance to MediShare, which is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. So the question for Jordan and his wife Jenny was, is this really going to work?
Our medical bills exceeded $160,000. MediShare members shared all our bills.
And it was about more than just the money, too. This is a real community.
MediShare is a family, a group of people that stick with you through the hardest times of your life. I just don't know how I could have done it without MediShare.
It's so worth looking into. There's a reason this is growing so fast. If you want to find out more, here's a number for you. 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
Hearing loss is a growing health issue, but did you know that an estimated 1.1 billion young people worldwide are at risk of developing the condition? Limit your exposure to loud noises and use ear protection when attending sporting events or concerts. Also, limit your earbud headphones to no more than 60 minutes at a time and at 60% of the volume. And talk to your primary care physician or other health professional to get a hearing test. Go to www.hearingloss.org. A public service message from the Hearing Loss Association of America, High Health Innovations, and this station.
Are you looking for smoke-free housing? Visit gethealthyclarkcounty.org for a list of 50,000 smoke-free units available.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Russia's Ukraine campaign. Trump tackles impeachment. I'm Mike Moss. Russian intelligence operatives have reportedly deployed a network of agents to blame Ukraine for the Russian campaign to interfere in the 2016 U.S. elections. The New York Times reports the Russian activities are underway at the same time as Republicans have supported the president's contention that Ukraine was behind U.S. election interference. President Trump says everyone knows who the whistleblower is, but he also tells reporters,
What whistleblower? I don't think there is. I consider it to be a fake whistleblower because what he wrote didn't correspond to what I said in any way, shape, or form. Thank you very much, everybody.
Trump today sought to discredit Democrats on the impeachment inquiry and the witnesses who testified this week under oath. However, it's not slowing down the impeachment process on Capitol Hill, as correspondent Manu Raju reports.
They are now drafting that report that will detail the findings of this investigation that's been happening since late September, and that report will serve as the basis of articles of impeachment that will likely be taken up by the House Judiciary Committee as early as the first couple of weeks of December, before we expect a full House to vote on that rather momentous vote.
AAA is predicting 55 million Americans will travel for Thanksgiving weekend. Forecaster Patrick Burke says many will see rain, but some will see snow.
This one comes out into the central U.S. and starts to form on Wednesday, which is, we all know, is one of the biggest travel days of the year. This is a relatively small weather system, but it could pack a punch with some snowfall accumulation that wouldn't be major, but at least it would cause some disruption.
Weather disruptions could mean travel delays for many travelers in the heartland. The Dow is up 99. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is paid for by Doctor-Patient Unity. Watch for slowing for a crash on Charleston east of Rancho Drive. Also an accident with injury sustained on Craig Road, westbound at the 95. Injury accident on Wallapai Way at Farm Road. Taking a look at I-15, traffic is good. No delays to report between the Spaghetti Bowl and the Southern Beltway. As surprise medical bills bankrupt Americans, Jackie Rosen demands insurance companies pay their fair share and opposing their rate-setting proposal to cover less of your medical care. Tell Jackie Rosen thank you and keep fighting. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
For more than a year, the whole of Vermont was captivated by the hunt for a runaway golden retriever. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press. Available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
Hi, it's Sam.
Hey, it's Ash, and we're Sam and Ash, your personal injury attorneys.
If you've been injured in an accident, don't rely on your insurance agent to help you.
Your agent and claims adjuster are not going to get you the treatment or compensation that you deserve for your injuries.
That's what we do. We craft an effective plan of action to get you the help you need.
Also, you deserve to be heard, and most of all, you deserve what's right.
So, give us a call 24/7 at 1-800-304-2000 or visit samandash.com. Sam and Ash.
What's right?
Right now, Doctors Without Borders medical teams are operating in some of the most remote and dangerous corners of the world. When front yards become front lines, at the crossroads of conflict and epidemic, where there are no hospitals, that's where we operate. Your response is critical to our response in places where few others will go. That's where we operate. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
Are you taking Cialis or Viagra? Marley Drug has generics of both for just $12 per tablet. That's a savings of $60 per dose. Marley Drug is an independent pharmacy delivering generic Cialis and Viagra to your door for $12 per tablet. Call Marley Drug at 800-870-4787. That's 800-870-4787. Again, 800-870-4787.
Are your investment dollars really going to work for you? The average Vestar Tech client gets 78% annual returns. That's right, 78% annual returns for over 2 decades with a recession-proof investment class they just started offering to the public. And for a limited time, you can begin enjoying these amazing annual returns. Call now for more info and to take advantage of 6 months absolutely free. This offer won't last, so call now at 888-88-PROFIT. Call Vestar Tech now. That's 888-88-PROFIT.
Rich is just a really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Las Vegas's only FM news talk station is right here. The new 1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take on a Friday, ripping out hour number 3. So glad you could join us. Hope you enjoyed that interview with the Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci. That was a lot of fun. We'll have him on again soon. We talk about a lot of different issues on this show. We're not a one-trick pony. Yeah, we talk about things from a Vegas perspective. We could be talking about entertainment, sports, politics, news, you name it. And some of the best entertainers in the world have been in this show, in studio. So, like I said, we talk about a lot of different issues. And this is an issue that we have brought up before, and is the issue of officials and umpires and the way they are treated, not necessarily by the athletes or by the people that are on the field, but by parents, right? So now there is a video that has gone viral. And this video is a youth Little League baseball game. Newport Harbor High School. It is located in Newport Beach, California. Beautiful place to live. I've been there before. And is an incident where some parents don't like a few balls and strikes calls because they are buffoons, because they are living through their children and setting a horrible precedence and example. And then we wonder why people grow up to be a-holes. Well, when you have parents screaming in the stands and umpires, parents acting like 8-year-olds, how do you think your kids are going to act? How do you think they're going to grow up to be? Just like you, a-holes. So this umpire had to deal with it, as many umpires and officials do. And I want to play a little bit of this audio for you, and then we're going to explain what happens next. So this is a youth Little League baseball game, parents screaming and yelling things at this umpire. Have a listen to this audio, and then we're going to break down what happens next.
Enough. I'm not hearing another word of anything.
Then be fair.
No, wait a second. Did you just hear me? Yeah, I heard you. Okay, do you want to have a game here? Quiet down. It's a baseball game.
Hey, stay professional for the kids and just do your job.
Come on.
That's it.
Come on.
Jesus.
You Are you got mad this. because the kids are taller than you?
Wow. Okay, that's it. See you later. Thanks. Bye. Take care, Ariel. Sorry. You're out of control.
Ridiculous.
Well, no, what was ridiculous is that dumb parent, that dumb mom. Yeah, are you angry because the kids are taller than you? Why don't you shut up? Get lost, you idiot. Are you mad? Oh, are you mad because the kids are taller? Shut up. God. So what does the umpire do? The umpire, I tell you, I got a lot of credit for this guy because, some would say, well, you could lose your job for this. He just walks off the field. And guess what? Because of those stupid parents that were yelling at the umpire, treating him like garbage, the kids suffer. And the kids suffer because they weren't able to finish the game because you got a bunch of dumb parents. You have an umpire that turns around that says, knock it off. And by the way, we don't even have the entire video. I'm sure there was a lot of escalation to that point. I'm sure it just didn't start there. The umpire turns around and says, knock it off. Listen, I have been a basketball official for 20 years. I started when I was 18, more than 20 years actually. I started as a senior in high school officiating basketball games. Folks, I have seen it all. It happened in Las Vegas where I had a parent at a local gymnasium called Doolittle Gymnasium screaming the N-word at me. Yeah, try to figure that one out. I've had that happen to me. I've had parents threaten me. I immediately stop the game. I throw them out of the gym, and then I have someone escort me to my car. And there have been times where I've had parents waiting for me outside. Not pretty, but I do not tolerate that, and I take it very seriously. There have been issues where officials have been punched, have been physically assaulted. We had one soccer referee in Arizona that lost his life. And I say to you, what are some of the worst instances that you've seen parents treating officials at games? I'm sure you have stories. I certainly have mine. What do you think should happen to a parent that yells obscenities, that threatens an umpire and official? What should happen to those parents at games? Have you watched an AAU basketball game? We got plenty of that in Las Vegas. Have you seen it for yourself? I'd be hard-pressed to say if you go to a highly competitive AAU basketball game that you don't see parents yelling obscenities and acting like complete buffoons at one of those games. Like I said, I've been doing it for 20 years. So I ask you this, and I'll open up the phone lines. What do you think should happen to these parents at this baseball game? And what do you think should happen to parents in general when they yell obscenities and verbally assault these officials? What do you think should be the punishment for them? And do you have any stories yourself as a parent or grandparent where you've seen this type of behavior, or maybe you've done it yourself and you feel bad about it? I want to hear from you right now. Open up the phone lines. 257-5396 is the number to call again. If you're calling from far and away places, that is area code 702-257-5396. And I have been seeing this going on for 20 years as a basketball official, but I will say this, it is getting worse. It is not getting better. When I started reffing 20 years ago, yeah, you had a few fans here and there that acted like jerks. But when I started doing this for the first 5 years, I guess, I never had anybody threaten me on the basketball court, or, I've never had that happen. But usually I'll say this, it's not usually the athletes that are causing the problem. It's usually, not all the time, but usually the parents. In fact, I've had situations in games that I have been a referee at where I've had a student swear at me and then I give him a technical. Even a situation where I remember I had to throw somebody out for swearing at me. I give him a technical foul, swore at me again. And then you know what happened? It starts with the coach. The coach acknowledged what had happened. He forced that player to come up to me, shake my hand, and apologize, and I have a lot of respect for that. And I said to that young man, I said, you know what? I got your back now. I appreciate you admitting you were wrong. I appreciate you for apologizing. And I appreciate you being a man to do that. The parents are the worst. The parents are 10 times worse than the kids that are out there. 10 times worse. It's a joke. This umpire at Newport Harbor High School should be commended for walking off the field. And we had a guy on our show, Barlow's his name, who now pays, and we'll have him on again, he pays $100 for videos of parents acting like buffoons at baseball games, basketball games. And it's even worse is I've seen this happen, kids 8, 9 years old. Little League baseball games, basketball games, it happens everywhere. If you're a parent, and I know there are parents out there listening that have done this. I know there are parents out there that are guilty of this. What type of example do you think you are setting for your kids? Honestly, picture yourself back when you were a child, 10, 11, 12 years old. Maybe it's a baseball game. Maybe it's a basketball game. And you hear your parent out there embarrassing you, swearing at the officials. What's going through your mind? I know my parents never did that. My parents certainly put a lot of pressure on me growing up in sports, and it may be a competitive jerk, but my parents never disrespected anybody on the court or the field, you name it. My parents never did that. So my question to you again, have you seen any of this stuff going on? Have you seen parents acting like jackasses on the field, on the basketball court? And I want to hear from you, and I want to know what you have to say about this. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 257-5396. Again, that number, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. JD, have you ever seen this yourself? I know you grew up in Omaha, right? But
yeah,
did this happen there?
Well, I grew up in Council Bluffs, Iowa. It happens all over the country, Brian. This isn't significant or it's singular to any type of or any specific location in the United States. But usually, you don't see the best player on the team's parent reacting like this. Usually, it is a parent who has a player whose kid is not performing at the highest level. They're trying to compensate for that by blaming someone else for it. From what I've viewed, would you agree with that? Have you seen is it usually the because you've been a ref for a long time, as you just stated, is it usually the star player's parent who's doing that, or is
No.
it a parent of a player who just probably isn't the most athletically gifted?
I wouldn't say it's the star parent that does it. I think it's in general terms. It doesn't matter who the kids are that are out there. I just think it's in general terms. Usually, actually, I would say the opposite. If it's a really good player out there, usually the really good players that are younger kids are usually the ones that are acting like the adults, that are usually more mature and treat me better.
Exactly, and I'm sure their parents kind of echo that behavior as well. But the parents that are freaking out on these refs and attacking them and calling them the N-word and whatever it is, their kids.
Well, somebody called me the N-word.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, their kids typically aren't the ones leading the pack. They're kind of just not really developed yet. Their game isn't where it needs to be. There's issues in their games, and their parents are making up for it by blaming someone else instead of just realizing, hey, my kid's not that good.
And I think if the coach is like that too, I think the coach has to bear some responsibility. Usually if you have a coach in a game that is completely out of control and disrespecting the officials, I find it almost always that the players are acting the same way. The coach usually acts, the players act the way their coach is. So that's usually the case as well. Now, if I'm a coach, and I used to be a basketball coach, if I'm a basketball coach and I see parents of players on my team acting ridiculous, I'm going to say something. And there's a lot of AAU coaches that won't do that because the parents are forking up a big bill, paying these coaches to do their job. If a parent is acting out of control, I am going to tell them to knock it off.
I will tell you this. The worst parents and the worst coaches that I dealt with when I was in youth sports were Catholic school.
Interesting.
The Catholic school coaches were just over the top dramatic. The parents were twice as bad. At least that was my experience. Living in Council Bluffs and living in Omaha, there was two Catholic schools that the parents were just ridiculous, and the coaches, their players they never fouled anyone. They were perfect angels, and again that kind of that bleeds off into everyday life, in my opinion.
It does. Sadly, I think how you act in a competitive situation or how you act in general terms is usually the way you're going to lead your life. I know that when I play poker and I'm in an extremely competitive situation, I'm brutal. I hate to lose. I hate to lose in really anything. But if I'm in a situation that's not really competitive, then I'm the opposite of that. But I believe, and you have to take responsibility for your behavior and your own actions. But certainly, my parents raised me win.
It just
that's
goes
how you
down.
get.
It goes down to overcompensating.
Yeah.
That's really all it comes down to. Is that when you don't see someone who's clearly in first place complaining about anything. It's always the one that wants to be in first place, but just doesn't really have it athletically, or that they just don't have the skill set to do so, and so they find someone to blame. They find a scapegoat.
It is my personal.
And sometimes they're just highly intoxicated.
It is my personal opinion, and we'll take your calls on this. 257-5396 is the number to call. It is my personal opinion that if a parent swears at an official, threatens an official, or is behaving completely irrationally, not only should that parent be thrown out of the game, but the kid should be thrown out of the game too. And I've done it myself in the past, and I think it needs to be enforced. Again, that number to call, 702-257-5396. Why don't we go to Gary? What do you think? Do you think that what do you think should happen to these parents that are acting irrationally?
I like your conservative tone for a change. You're absolutely right. They should get a $500 fine, and it's much more serious than you make it sound, because it's a breakdown in our whole society. It's been happening gradually. I'm not blaming anybody, not blaming liberals, but if you listen to Dr. Adele like I do once in a while on a weekend, she says the same things happen to nurses. They're being verbally and physically challenged to be nurses lately. It's not just flight attendants.
But Gary, can I just interrupt you for a second? I don't think this has anything to do with politics. I think this has everything to do with what's right and what's wrong. This has nothing to do with I don't care what political party these parents are. I don't give a crap about that. All I'm saying is, and I think you agree with me, if somebody is misbehaving and setting a horrible example for their kids and embarrassing their kids, they need to be punished for it. And I hate to punish these kids for it as well, but I think if a parent threatens an official or swears at an official, that kid should be thrown out of the game too. Set them a lesson. Set a lesson for the parents as well. You can't have the parents. You can't have. Hold on.
But what if the kid isn't misbehaving?
You can't have a parent escorted out of the gym and then just have the kid playing there without a guardian. I think there are rules and regulations.
Is that legal? Is that?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you can't do that.
Well, isn't the coach considered a guardian under those circumstances?
I think that if a parent is misbehaving and the parent is
Can I
forking,
add
go ahead.
a little bit to this.
Yeah, go ahead.
A little bit. All right, it's not about politics. Then it's sociologist. What do you call it? That we need. We need somebody here to step in and say our democracy, our Western way of life, is making the rest of the world look at us like a bunch of clowns. They see what the breakdown is. They see all the trouble, all the crime, all the litter, all the garbage, all the stupidity that we go through here and say, that's what they want us to be like? I don't mean to bring up politics, but all right, then do this. Give them a $500 fine for not being parents and make them watch the Andy Griffin show where Andy Griffin is the umpire and he makes his own son out.
I thought you were going to say make them listen to the Vegas tape, Gary. Listen, I appreciate your phone call, Gary. Thank you for calling in. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. We're talking about what should we do with these parents that are acting irrational, that are treating officials like scum, that are swearing at them, yelling at them, threatening them. We have this story that has come out. Newport Harbor High School, Newport Beach, California. It is a little league baseball game. You have an umpire that walks off the field because these parents are just going after him, yelling at him, these stupid insults. So what does he decide to do? He tries to leave the game, and who suffers for that? The kids, because the kids did not continue this little league baseball game. I believe that if a parent gets thrown out of a game for misbehaving, the kid has to go along with that parent, and if it happens again in another game, that's it. Their kid is done for the year. And I hate to do it that way. I hate to make the kids suffer in this type of situation. But I think moving forward, you have to abide by the rules if you are a parent. And it doesn't mean you have to swear or threaten somebody to get thrown out. If you are abusing an official, this is not college. College, it's fair game. In no way, shape, or form should I say at a UNLV basketball game you should be swearing at the official or threatening an official. That should never be tolerated under any circumstance. But if you're going to say you suck or you're horrible at a college game, I think there's a difference between doing that and doing it in front of kids. There's a fine line there. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the UNLV football program playing their last game ever at Sam Boyd Stadium. Will it be the last time we will see Tony Sanchez on the sidelines for UNLV? We'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Enough with the fees already. Bad check fees, credit card fees, late rent fees, and those huge payday loan fees. We can help and safely lend you up to $5,000 in minutes to cover your payments and avoid those fees. You don't need a checking account, perfect credit, or collateral, and it's 100% free to apply and see how much you qualify for. If you need the loan for 1 day, 1 week, or 1 year, it doesn't matter at the DLC. You only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. There are no application fees or prepayment penalties. Nothing, really. We offer small weekly payments and make it easy to pay your loan back because of our fantastic rates. Join over 250,000 satisfied customers and let us help you out. It's okay to need a loan and borrow money as long as you're getting a fair deal.
Licensed by the Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
The Vegas Strong Resiliency Center is a safe haven, a place for residents, visitors, and responders affected by the tragic events of the 1 October shooting incident. Staffed with compassionate professionals, services include victim advocacy and support, counseling referrals, and help accessing the FBI's Victim Assistance Services website. The center is located at 1524 Pinto Lane. It's open weekdays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. For more information, call 702-455-AID or 1-833-2998.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Trooper Chelsea Stunkel with the Nevada Highway Patrol, reminding drivers that with the recent legalization of recreational use of marijuana, it is still a form of impairment when you get behind the wheel. So please don't drive impaired. If you drive high, you will get a DUI.
Steve Sanchez, weekdays 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Friday. By the way, for those of you Brian Shapiro haters out there, I've got some really, really good news for you. Boy, are you going to love this. Chris Wynn will be filling in for me next week. I am going on vacation. I'll be back, though. Don't worry. I'll be back. But Chris Wynn will be filling in for me. JD will still be here. That will be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week.
And so will Pat Cassell.
Yes.
Pat Cassell will be here. And I'll be here Monday and Wednesday. I don't believe I'll be here on Tuesday.
So Thursday and Friday, of course, it's Thanksgiving. And then the day after Thanksgiving, we'll be playing the best of the Vegas Take. So that is what we got lined up for you next week. Of course, there'll be all the same great guests and a great lineup next week for that as well. I mentioned earlier UNLV football, and by the way, there's a lot of other stuff going on this week. We got a UNLV basketball game tomorrow. We got the Knights in action tomorrow night. But I want to start with UNLV football quickly here because it is the last UNLV football game, the last one under Tony Sanchez. Hey, campaign, can you do me a favor? Can you close that door? Because some people don't understand we're actually doing a live radio show. Thank you. Appreciate that. People are screaming out there. Anyway, this will be the last UNLV football game at Sam Boyd Stadium. Now, I have a funny feeling about this game. I do think that this will probably be the last game for Tony Sanchez, and he's gone. But I've been saying that for most of the year. You said that you thought in the last 4 or 5 games they were going to win them all. I made a dinner with you. I said there's absolutely no chance that is that going to happen. So I just want to gloat a little bit on the air and say you were very wrong and I was very right. Yeah, I have the right to do that, don't I? Okay.
You have every right to do that. I got completely crushed. I totally overestimated Tony Sanchez's ability to develop players as well as make second half adjustments.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
And play on the road.
What made you think in the first 4 years he did have the ability to do that?
Well, I moved here 2.5 years ago, Brian.
All right, so what in the last 2.5 years made you believe that he was the kind of guy that can develop players?
Well, I liked what I saw with Armani Rogers. I liked the option attack if it just stuck with being an option, but he kept trying. Tony Sanchez kept trying to be balanced when his weapons weren't balanced. Armani Rogers is one of the worst throwing quarterbacks that you'll ever see at the college level. He is horrendous, and he should be running the ball. UNLV, with him at quarterback, he should be running the ball. They should be running the ball 80 to 90% of the time. And with Oblatt at quarterback, in my opinion, Armani Rogers should be a tight end, and they should be passing the ball about 65% of the time.
I want to get into, because we got to go to break.
Sure.
I don't know how much I want, me personally, I want to break down UNLV because they're just a dumpster fire. But I do want to talk about this when we come back. I want to talk about the Sam Boyd Stadium. What is going to be, is there anything going to be done to it? Where are the games, what other events are going to be happening there? And what is the significance of the type of players that played in that arena, I guess you'd call it, that stadium? You're not going to believe some of the names. I have a list of some of the names that played there. You might be a little bit surprised. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back after this. And also coming up here at the bottom of the hour, the girls from Ellis Island, Christina and Anna, will be joining us in studio. They got a really new, cool beer garden out there. So they're going to be joining us in studio. We'll talk a little bit about that with them. We'll continue this discussion on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Vegas Take.
President Trump is trying to undermine the House impeachment inquiry witnesses.
The bottom line is all of those witnesses, they're all shifty shifts. Don't forget, there was no due process. You can't have lawyers. We couldn't have any witnesses.
Correspondent Manu Raju reports House Democrats are discussing articles of impeachment.
They're still debating the exact scope of how that article of impeachment would work, but they're looking into abuse of power, obstruction of justice, obstruction of Congress, and bribery among the articles that they are discussing. So it's still a question of exactly how this will be structured, in part because the report still needs to be drafted.
An RV stopped on the tracks was hit by a commuter train and burst into flames near Los Angeles. The crash caused widespread delays. There are no reports of any major injuries following the fiery collision. Passengers and crew on the train were safely evacuated. On Wall Street, the Dow is up about 100 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the K-Don Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Sam and Ash. Cheyenne Avenue still closed westbound between I-15 and Losee Road. Take an alternate to avoid the closure like Lake Mead Boulevard or Cary. And a crash reported Flamingo at Cameron. Another injury crash, this is going to be Flamingo at Arville. And a traffic hazard reported Spencer Street at Pyle Avenue. Maybe debris on the roadway, and watch for brake lights in the area. After a crash, the insurance company won't have your back. That's why you need personal injury attorney Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right. Visit them now at samandash.com. John Michaels from the K-Don Traffic Center.
If you need to sell your house,
talk to Aaron Taylor.
You want to sell it fast and get the most cash, talk to Aaron Taylor,
the real estate guy.
Happy holidays, Nevada. I get asked all the time, Aaron, how do you do so much business? What's your secret? Well, the answer is simple. We always place our clients' needs first. We ask the right questions, and we go over a 3-step program. Number 1, we will buy your home cash in 5 days, giving you top dollar. Number 2, make all repairs to your house with our money, then list the property, getting you top dollar. Number 3, use our 25 years of experience and our amazing marketing strategies to get you top dollar. Also, getting you a cash advance if needed for the holidays. So call your top agent today, Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy, 702-310-6683. That's 702-310-MOVE. 702-310-6683, powered by eXp Realty. Call for details. License number 38886.
talk to Aaron Taylor,
the real estate guy.
It's time for some straight talk. You've got real work to do, but everyone's sucking up the free Wi-Fi faster than a Mocha Choco double frap on ice. So be your own hotspot. Now with Straight Talk Wireless, get 10 gigs of hotspot data with the ultimate unlimited plan. Just $55 a month on America's best 4G LTE networks. You don't have to find a hotspot. You are the hotspot. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Compatible device and SIM required. Excludes the 2-line plan. See straighttalk.com.
The Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber, a nonprofit organization, offers many membership benefits to both business and individuals. Reach us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or on the website, vegashealthfitnesschamber.com.
The jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. So if you're a middle school student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. A public service message from America's Navy.
Millions retire online so they can do what they want offline. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
I'm Ben Utek. I played high school, college, and pro football, helping my team win the 2006 championship. It was an amazing day, but it can't compare to the joy I feel every day with my loving wife and 3 beautiful daughters. My football career ended after I suffered my 5th concussion. Did you know that over 1 million athletes suffer a concussion each year? That includes boys and girls, every age, every type and level of sport. It isn't always clear that a player has had a concussion, so parents, athletes, and coaches need to learn about concussion signs and symptoms. The American Academy of Neurology recommends athletes thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play and not returned until assessed by a healthcare professional trained in concussion. This isn't just about sports. It's about your brain. When in doubt, sit it out. Learn more at aan.com/concussion. That's aan.com/concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. K-Don.
They should never, ever impeach.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. What about impeaching a football coach? Are you allowed to do that? I don't know. I'll have to ask Donald Trump about that one. As I mentioned earlier, UNLV football, it is their final game at Sam Boyd Stadium. Imagine how many people are going to be showing up next year at the Raiders Stadium. I think it has a little bit to do with who they hire as the next head coach. Is there any chance that UNLV and Desiree Reed-Francois keeps her around or keeps him around? I'd say maybe 1%. I suppose if the Fertittas said, here you go, here's a $50 million check or a $20 million check, we want to keep Tony Sanchez around for another year, I guess that's possible, but I don't think that's going to happen. This is what happens when you hire a high school football coach to take over a D1 program that has struggled over the course of the last several decades. Remember, Randall Cunningham played in this stadium. Kenny Mayne, ESPN SportsCenter guy, who I love, by the way, was a quarterback for UNLV. You know, there's a lot of legendary players that played there. And I've seen some great shows there. Listen, it's not like they're tearing it down. That's not what I'm saying. But we're not going to see, you know, besides, the Vegas Bowl one last time there. We're not going to be seeing UNLV play there ever again. Now, that's probably a good thing. But how many seats are going to be filled in this new stadium? That's my question. Make no mistake about it. This has been a horrible year for UNLV football. And this program has been horrible forever. I remember Bobby Houck got us to a bowl game. Our friend of the show, Caleb Herring, quarterback. And then he has a bad year the following year, and then he's fired. Sanford did not do a good job. We could go way, way back to these coaches. It has been a losing program forever, and I have a lot of doubts about the UNLV basketball program. And I really haven't said that in this very early stage of the TJ Otzelberger era. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I like TJ Otzelberger personally. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's done a great job in getting out into the community and making himself available. He's treated us with respect. I like him. I don't like his offense. I don't like halftime adjustments or lack thereof. I don't like what I've seen early. I know, Brian, you say, Brian, it's so early. There are some people on other stations that said, this is a much improved team from last year. What the hell have you seen to say something stupid like that? Because some people are on the take in this town, and they're not honest. And I'm specifically talking about other radio stations. They're on the take.
Or newspapers.
Or newspapers too. But specifically, I'm talking about a morning radio host who said this after watching one game this year, that this UNLV basketball team is much improved from last year. It's lunacy. And UNLV basketball is playing SMU tomorrow. They had a horrible loss the other night, and I mean horrible, on Wednesday night. That was a bad loss.
Yeah, no matter how you spin it, Texas State at home is not a good loss.
It's a bad loss.
But the team was actually pretty athletic. They played good defense, and they lost to Baylor by 9. But name recognition-wise, it was a bad loss.
So, JD, here's what I mean by that. And I know you've only been here a couple of years. I've been here 20 years. When we're talking about, and I wasn't here during the Tark era. I wish I was when they won a national championship. I can't imagine how much fun that must have been. But I was here when Lon Kruger was here. Lon Kruger is a Hall of Fame coach. I could not say enough great things about him. And his son is on the staff now. I think that's great. When Lon Kruger was here, the team was relevant. They were consistent top 25 in the country. They were getting at least 10,000 fans a game. They made it to the Sweet 16. They were actually not only just getting into the NCAA tournament, but winning games in the NCAA tournament. That is what I call a relevant program. And he was recruiting the type of guys like Wink Adams, guys like that, who developed, who got better, the Joel Anthonys of the world. I'm not confident we have that with this guy. And watching his offense, and I know he's limited in certain areas. We don't have a very capable guard. I get that.
You know, you talk about not being confident he can develop players. Mike Daum, David Jenkins, those guys weren't highly ranked guys. And they ended up, I mean, Mike Daum was one of the best players in college basketball for a couple of years. David Jenkins led the league in three-point percentage last year. And by the league, I mean the NCAA. So I think that Otzelberger does a good job of developing players. Right now, he is using Elijah Mitchell-Long way too much offensively. I think he needs Armani Hardy to take over the one and to shoot the ball 30 to 35 times a game.
But you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. He definitely has developed talent at South Dakota State, and he hasn't had the opportunity to do that here at UNLV. So I can't say that he doesn't know how to develop talent like Lon Kruger did.
Well,
I just can't say that because
I'll say
of
this.
Mike Daum and David Jenkins
People
Jr.
talk about T.J. Otzelberger's offense at South Dakota State, and I'll say this. He had one of the best players in the country over there.
Yeah,
Hold on, let me finish.
He was a two-star coming out of high school. Okay. He developed him to become one of the best players in the country.
Let's be clear. T.J. Otzelberger did not recruit him.
Just because he didn't recruit him doesn't mean he didn't develop him.
But here's why I bring him up. I'm not talking about whether he improved or not. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is your offense could have a free flow to it, and you could look like a genius if you have a guy like that who could score on the perimeter, score at will anywhere when you have one of the most prolific scorers in the country. But I got to tell you, what I've seen from this offense is very simple. A lack of guys cutting, a lack of movement. It's give the ball to Amari Hardy, set a pick and roll, set a screen, and let Amari Hardy create and run the offense. There's not a lot of movement. There's not a lot of creativity. So I have a lot of concerns early with this team. They gave away the game against Kansas State. They gave away the game on the road against Cal. They were not efficient down the stretch in these games. And I'm not going to say they even gave away the game the other day. They just flat out were horrible. When you're scoring in the 50s at home and you're supposed to have a brilliant offense, you can't make the excuse every game, wow, they're a really good defensive team. He said that against Kansas State. What I mean by he is T.J. Otzelberger. He said Kansas State has a top 5 defense in the country. What are you going to say about the game Wednesday night?
They definitely have a top 35 defense in the country. And Texas State, again, they played Baylor, who I consider to be a potential Elite 8 Final Four contender. Very, very tough.
But the point I'm trying to make is when you're UNLV basketball and you're wearing that jersey and you're playing in front of 2,000 or 3,000 fans and you're losing to Texas State at home, something is wrong.
Wow.
That is unacceptable and it shouldn't happen. Period. It shouldn't happen.
That can't be argued. Again, I think it comes down to, and UNLV right now, the running Rebels, they aren't exactly running. They're 322 in the Ken Pom pace ratings right now in college basketball. They're one of the slowest offensively paced teams in college basketball. Yes, the UNLV Running Rebels are one of the slowest offensively paced teams in college basketball with this new offense. But I do think that Amari Hardy needs to take over the one. They need to put probably Bryce Hamilton at the 2, get Antonio out of the lineup, in my opinion, from a starting perspective because he can't play defense. Or I guess you could put him at the 3 and just push the ball and let Hardy shoot the ball 25, 30 times a game because Elijah Mitchell-Long, he's got some speed, but he can't really produce offensively. He doesn't get his teammates good shots, I don't think, off the dribble, and he's afraid to shoot the ball. And with T.J. Otzelberger's offense, you have to have someone to attack the basket constantly and to be that number one guy, but again, like Mike Daum was.
Yeah, but I'm just speaking in general terms. Unacceptable if you're wearing a UNLV basketball jersey, coaching staff, athletic director, you name it. It is unacceptable to play in front of a couple thousand fans at the Thomas and Mack Center and losing games like this. It is unacceptable.
I mean, that crowd was absolutely putrid.
It's a joke.
And I was really surprised. We were there for the press conference, at least for a part of it, until we had to pick up Michael Avenatti that night. But Desiree Reed-Francois was there before we were. She was there.
I've seen her there in the press conferences before.
Not that early, though. I mean, she was there right after the game was over, which I was very surprised by.
Well, make no mistake, this is her hire. We hope T.J. Otzelberger succeeds. We hope he wins. I'm pulling for him, but with that being said, they are not off to a good start this year, and there is a reason why they are picked 7th in the league. Not acceptable. So we hope they improve. I have a lot of questions about their offense and what they run, and they're playing a team in SMU tomorrow night, and it's a much-needed win for UNLV. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the girls from Ellis Island will be joining us, Christina and Anna. One of my favorite local casinos to go to. They have some very cool stuff happening there, some very new stuff that's happening there. So we're going to take a quick break, and we are going to give out some prizes away. So stay tuned for that. It is the Vegas Take. We'll be back right after this on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Do you know that mortgage rates have plummeted to a 3-year low and are nearing historic lows? At the same time, home values have gone up roughly 50% in the last several years. However, they seem to be peaking now. Maybe it's time to put that equity to work by paying off high-rate credit cards, personal loans, or remodel your house. Hi, I'm Wesley Hoagland with Westland Financial. Let us put you in a position to do any of these things with no closing costs. That's right, nothing's rolled into your loan, whether it's conventional, FHA, or VA, will pay your title, settlement, lender, and recording fees. Maybe you just want to lock in a lower rate or refinance out of paying mortgage insurance. All it takes is a 5-minute phone call to see how we can save you thousands of dollars a year. So call Westland at 888-455-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. Call us at 888-455-3669. 888-455-3669. That's 888-455-3669.
NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777 or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
I'm Ben Utek. I played high school, college, and pro football, helping my team win the 2006 championship. My career ended after I suffered my 5th concussion. More than 1 million athletes suffer a concussion each year. The American Academy of Neurology recommends athletes thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play and assessed by a healthcare professional trained in concussion. This isn't just about sports, it's about your brain. When in doubt, sit it out. Learn more at aan.com/concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology.
Hi, this is Shelly, and I am a 4-time cancer survivor. 50% of men and 30% of women will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. Go to cancer.org for cancer facts and information, 1-800-227-2345 for any cancer information you might need.
At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we provide more than $150 billion each year in grants, loans, and work-study funds. Learn more at studentaid.gov.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Hill with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Children love to play, but did you know play is important for healthy brain development? Play helps children learn language, math, and social skills, and lowers stress. This is good for kids and their parents. The next time your child wants to play with you, say yes. It's one of the best parts of being a parent. For more information on child development, visit healthychildren.org or talk with your pediatrician.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
Listen, I'm always telling people I watch your show in the morning. I don't watch the other garbage.
Wait, when Donald Trump says that, is he talking about our show? I don't know. Donald, you shouldn't call our show garbage. That's not very nice. Anyway, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. Wrapping up our show, our final segment. And, it's very rare when we have ownership of casinos coming in studio, although we have had Derek Stevens in before, who owns the D. Still working on trying to get Steve Wynn in. If we can't get him in, we'll try to get his masseuse on the show. We're still working on that. But anyway, joining us in studio right now, it's one of my favorite local casinos to go to. It's got that local vibe, great food, and actually affordable, inexpensive, and no doubt some of the best karaoke in Las Vegas. I used to frequent there all the time. My voice isn't doing too well these days because I talk too much on the radio. But anyway, joining us in studio is Christina and Ana joining us in studio. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Great. How are you? Thanks for having us. Good.
We have Ownership Casino Royalty in studio right now. Thank you both for being here. I appreciate it. So one of the main reasons why we wanted you in, and by the way, we're going to give out a great prize here in just a few minutes, dinner for two, to this new beer garden you guys have that, right? It just opened up how long ago?
So this is our week of soft openings, and the grand opening's on the 6th. So we're waiting for opening, but it's just in about a week and a half now.
So you guys have had a lot of different renovations to your casino. The whole layout is a little different than it was like a year or two ago. So just tell me the type of changes that you guys have made to the casino just in general terms.
Yeah, so we moved our pit a little bit, expanded the floor, and then obviously the beer garden is the biggest new expansion. So we'll be able to have 300 more people on property every night. It'll be a great entertainment venue for live music, a great place to just grab a beer with friends.
See, here's what I like about going into your casino. So we went into the Palazzo the other day. And, the minimums at the Palazzo, they're pretty high. For a local to walk in there, you got to spend a lot of money. And I did, but we won't discuss that any further. I did lose a lot of money. But you walk into Ellis Island, and obviously this is a business. You guys want to make money. But at the same time, the table minimums are very low. It's a party-like atmosphere. The drinks, I talked to my friend Chris Wynn, who's a friend of the show. He can spend 20 or 30 bucks there and drink all night and just have the greatest time in the world. I think that's what I like most about your casino. It's kind of local friendly. It's not, you want tourists in there, but it doesn't have to be tourists. You're relying more on locals, right? Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. So we do definitely want to keep that old Vegas spirit at Ellis Island. That's why you can find the $5 tables, $2.50 beers, a $7.99 steak. So we want you to have fun when you're there, not feel like we're trying to rob you of every penny that you have. Just trying to have as much fun as possible, free karaoke. So yeah, it's definitely like what Vegas used to be, where we want you to have as much fun and feel like you're on vacation every time you walk in the door.
I do feel like when I walk into some of these strip casinos, they do want to rob every penny that I have, and usually they get it, unfortunately, sadly. No, but
and they advertise it with
They
no issue.
do.
They're very okay with stealing all of your money.
So do you guys know like the nuances? Like do you guys actually pump extra oxygen into a casino? Is that true, or is that just not true?
If we're doing that, I've never heard that we are.
I've heard that
we do
before.
not, but we do try to make sure it's not smoky and
That's
people
good.
are comfortable.
So
in
there's
there.
no clocks in casinos. Explain that. Why is there no? Why can't you really find the time in a casino?
Because the only time that matters is Vegas time.
But like the old fallacies of casinos and how they get your money and all these other things. You guys obviously don't charge for parking. I wanted to ask you a little bit about that too, because that's a pain in the ass. A lot of these casinos, and this is fairly recently, in the last year and a half, they started charging to park. If you're a local, and you both ladies are obviously locals as well, doesn't that? I don't care if you're a millionaire or if you're making $10 an hour and working hard and doing whatever you're doing. That's just a nuisance, isn't it? To charge a local. Obviously, if a local is going to your casino, they're going to spend money. What are they going to do? Just walk into your casino and just sit there and do nothing? I don't understand that. Explain that to me.
Well, I can't understand why people charge for it, but we don't charge for it because we want you to feel happy as soon as you walk in the door, not mad that you just paid $20. And one of my favorite stories about having paid parking in town is my grandpa has been working in town forever and ever. He's 91 years old. He's the pit boss at Ellis Island now.
He's still the pit boss.
And he's still the pit boss. He's 91. Yeah. And
You gotta respect that.
yeah, and we were having a family dinner and going to the strip, and he refused to pay for parking. So he wanted to walk from Ellis Island. And we're like, Grandpa, no. Oh my God, are you kidding?
He was fully going to do it.
He's
Walk
like,
to the
it's-
Cosmo.
He's like, it's no big deal. I'll just walk. And
Your
we're like,
grandpa.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great guy. Let me tell you, I'm so lazy. I live a block from work, and I won't even walk to work. So I give him a lot of credit. That's for sure. Go ahead, JD.
That is nuts. So I've seen pictures of the front yard, and it looks like you've made some really amazing changes. You've added TVs. There's a space for live music appearances. Talk to me about the live entertainment that takes place there.
Absolutely. So the venue itself is indoor, outdoor, and 2 stories, like you mentioned. It's totally full of screens, but specifically for entertainment, we want to have the full spectrum. So on like a normal weekday night, we might have a DJ in there, all the way up to it's built. We have an incredible AV system we put in, so it could be a full concert if we take out all the tables. So
That's awesome. So I always love to take care of our listeners. Like I say this all, even the ones that hate me, I still want to take care of them. So you ladies are nice enough that you're going to be giving away dinner for 2 right now. Dinner for 2. Go ahead, explain to me what you're giving away. You're better off explaining it than I am.
Yeah, so dinner for 2 in the front yard. Will be open for our grand opening is the 6th of December. But we have some awesome new menu items, some great shareable plates and all that good stuff, new drinks, cocktails. So you get to come in, enjoy some entertainment and some great food.
There we go. Okay, so dinner for 2 right now. We're going to take the 10th caller. Dinner for 2 at Ellis Island, 702-257-5396. We are taking the 10th caller right now. Dinner for 2 at Ellis Island, 257-5396. Now, the winner just can't walk in there and bring 100 friends and order whatever they want. So, right, it's 2 people. There has to be some sort of limit.
You can bring 100 friends, but 98 of them have to pay.
All right, that's fair enough. Right now, 10th caller, you're going to win dinner for 2 at Ellis Island at the new beer garden. This is a cool prize that we're giving away. And again, that number to call, 702-257-5396. Again, that number is 702-257-5396. And the lines are going absolutely nuts right now. I think we need like 40 lines. I'm glad I did 10th caller and not 5th caller this time. The lines are going a little bit crazy. Thank you, by the way, for giving that away to our listeners. We appreciate that. All right, so karaoke, I am a lover of karaoke, but it intimidates me a little bit recently going to Ellis Island because there's so many damn good singers there. I'm like, what the hell is going on? There's like professionals that are up there singing. They're there every night. I'm like, should I not feel a little bit intimidated?
You know, it's funny. I've sent friends like, go to Ellis Island, go to karaoke, you'll love it. And they'll be like, what the heck? Everyone's so good. But I think that the people that are good are just so good that you kind of forget about the people that are so bad. So we do have the full spectrum.
So
absolutely.
I sing karaoke all over the city. I sing "My Way" by Frank Sinatra. That's kind of my go-to.
Classic.
Is that sang a lot there by anyone? And do they do it really well? Like, would I have a shot of making a good impression at Ellis Island?
We have a regular that actually opens the show almost every night with that song. So
wow,
you will be up against some pretty tough competition.
How old is he?
I don't want to label, but a little bit older than you.
Okay, I can deal with that.
My friend Chris Wynn, who loves your casino very much, and he's actually probably donated a lot of money to your favorite charity at your casino. He always sings "Like a Virgin" by Madonna. And last time I went with Chris, this is a very funny story. We went to your fine establishment. He had a couple drinks in him, and people were having a good time. He's singing "Like a Virgin." And there were 3 women, cougars, as I like to call them, cougars, sitting at a
That's
table.
appropriate.
They all had dollar bills, and they all put the dollar bills in his pocket while he was singing the song. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Only at Ellis Island would that happen. I love it. It was so much fun. It was great. It was awesome. Also, your barbecue there is unbelievable. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's open every night from 4 to 10, 4 to 11 on the weekends. Great barbecue chicken and ribs. We actually just won Best of Las Vegas, Best Barbecue.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
And as they should have. It's the best bang for your buck barbecue in the city.
It is incredible.
And it's not even close.
It is pretty incredible.
You can get a full rack with a player's card if you play $5 for $15.99.
That's actually a pretty damn good deal. When you think of all the
$13.99.
You're selling yourself short there. 13.
15 with a card, 13 if you play $5.
So and your craps table and blackjack tables, I've seen them at $5, right?
Yep. Yeah. We have
$5 tables. Yeah.
That's awesome. See how awesome is that? I could just sit there and play like blackjack or craps and just play the pass line and the don't pass line and just drink for free all night, right? Oh no, we don't want everybody. I don't know if we want everybody to do that, but I would certainly do that because I'm a scumbag.
That's a really bad strategy.
I'm a scumbag.
That's a very ineffective, non-profitable strategy.
If you want to drink for free,
anyone who listening to this does not use that strategy because it's not effective.
It's definitely effective for me.
It's not effective.
It's effective. It might not be effective for Ellis Island, but it's effective for me. But no, in seriousness though, it's a cool spot. And you know, you're at correct me if I'm wrong, Colval and Flamingo.
That's right.
Flamingo.
God, I can't believe I remembered that. Unbelievable. And you're right next door to, let's see, you got the hotel there, right next door. You got a 7-Eleven there, and it's arguably next to, one of the most famous cross streets in the country, which is Las Vegas Boulevard in Flamingo. And Colval is the street, correct me if I'm wrong, where Tupac,
I knew that was coming.
On Colval and Flamingo, which happened right there. Yeah.
God, that is so crazy.
Did he spend any time in Ellis Island at all?
Cannot confirm or deny.
Who is the most famous person that ever walked into Ellis Island? Can you share that?
Nicolas Cage has sung karaoke with us a couple of times.
No way!
Drew Carey. Actually, Drew Carey, if you're listening, I have some great ideas for a karaoke contest. Please call me.
Nick Cage up there singing karaoke. Did he look like the Crypt Keeper? How's he looking? That's cool. No,
we got to get him back in.
That's so awesome. That's so cool. Like you own your own casino, and
Didn't
Nick
you
Cage.
See him at a gas station?
I did
a couple months ago.
I've seen a lot. I did. I saw him at a gas station. I was intimidated to go up to him and say hello. I was going to say, "Hey, man, give me my bunny." Con Air reference there. One of my favorite movies.
That is the worst.
Anyway,
that's so bad.
It was pretty bad. Anyway, Christina, Anna, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. Next time we have you in studio, hopefully we can get you a little longer, talk a little bit more about Ellis Island. But congratulations on all your success. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
You bet. All right, I'm taking a hiatus. Next week I am off. I am officially right now on vacation. JD still will be here. Chris Wynn will be filling in for me. So it'll be a lot of fun. So please tune in just because I'm not here. You know, that's not an excuse for not tuning into the Vegas Take.
It's a valid reason.
It is a valid reason? Okay, well, thank you, JD. I'll take that as a compliment. Have a great night, everybody.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
On the move again, talking to senators. I'm Mike Moss.